all running through like I think this is an M3 Max. This MacBook Pro this might be an M2 Max, but it is maxed the hell out. So it's going to heat up a bit and do just fine. All right. We're going to let up a Trump supporter. We have the Quality Learning Center here, just like probably the most competent individual you've ever met. The sarcasm. Yeah, let's just start. I'm looking for MAGA and people I haven't talked to, so let's start here. Hello.
Oh.
Hello. How are you?
Good. I got a question for you.
Okay. Have we talked before?
Nope.
Okay. Fantastic.
Okay, I got a question for you. The question I have for you is this. I know a lot of Democrats out there that literally believe just because Donald Trump's name is in the Epstein files, that makes him guilty.
Yep.
Do you guys believe in this Fifth Amendment?
Yeah. So I'm going to answer your question. And we can just like cut through all the stuff. Obviously, Donald Trump being in the any given name being in the Epstein files doesn't automatically mean guilt. But Donald Trump, obviously, with his name being in the Epstein files, we learned yesterday over 1 million times, according to several House members who are able to view the unredacted Epstein files because the public cannot. It's pretty clear that Donald Trump, there's some serious evidence of crimes. And I think that several of those examples would be that, number one, we've learned today that via, again, House members on the floor and being interviewed, actually, that Donald Trump has been lying about his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, and there's at least a set of files we have not seen that suggest that Donald Trump didn't kick out, he claimed he kicked out Jeffrey Epstein from Mar-a-Lago, portion of redacted files showing that he actually didn't kick out Jeffrey Epstein from Mar-a-Lago. He never asked Jeffrey Epstein to leave. We have a Wall Street Journal article that relates to some of the Jeffrey Epstein files in which it clearly shows that Donald Trump was sending young girls to Jeffrey Epstein and allowing him to get massages at Mar-a-Lago. Massages are normally only a perk given to members at Mar-a-Lago. Jeffrey Epstein was never a member at Mar-a-Lago, but Donald Trump was sending young girls to Jeffrey Epstein to give him massages. Anyway, we know from the Epstein files that Donald Trump met Melania Trump, his current wife, on Jeffrey Epstein's plane and slept with her.
That's not what I asked. That's not what I asked. I asked, do you believe in the Fifth Amendment?
Yes.
Do you understand what it is?
Yes.
Okay, what is the Fifth Amendment?
Please, we can just cut through all this.
No.
No, please.
What is the Fifth Amendment?
I feel like we can just cut all this. We could just.
No, you can't, because you don't want to acknowledge it. The Fifth Amendment clearly states that Donald Trump is innocent until proven guilty. He has not been charged with a crime. He has not been arrested or convicted by a jury of his peers, which is how it works in this country.
Well, he has been convicted by a jury of his peers, just not for the Epstein files. Well, not for the Epstein files, but
that's what we're talking about.
Right.
I'm talking about I'm talking about the Epstein files right now.
Right.
He has not been charged or convicted of it. So you cannot sit there and say that he's guilty.
Right. So
because he has
so
the
this
right
is
to
why
due process, and he has the right to be innocent until proven guilty.
This is why I wanted to not answer this question originally and cut through the bullshit.
Because you don't like the answer.
No,
That's
because can I speak? Can I speak?
No.
Can I speak?
You Democrats
Nope.
always want him to
I'm
be
gonna
guilty no
I'm
matter
gonna
what
answer
his
your
rights
question.
are.
I'm gonna
You wanna
I'm
take
gonna
away his
answer
rights.
I'm gonna answer your
So
question.
that's the biggest problem with you Democrats is you
Can
want to
I
take away
can I
his
speak?
rights.
Can I speak?
There you go. Goodbye.
You're gonna leave. Okay. Well, he left. See, the reason I didn't want to go down that path is because obviously that dude doesn't understand the Constitution. Right? Like the Bill of Rights, the first 10 amendments protect you from the government, right? So he says, you people don't believe in the Fifth Amendment because you called Donald Trump guilty and he has a right to due process. I'm not the government. So Donald Trump has a right to due process like everyone else. But the Fifth Amendment has nothing to do with me personally as a citizen saying, let's say in this instance, Donald Trump's not a private citizen, but another private citizen, just to make it easy, is guilty. Like, that has nothing to do with the Fifth Amendment. If I was fucking stupid, I'd believe it had something to do with the Fifth Amendment, but whatever. And furthermore, obviously Donald Trump has a right to due process. I believe at this point, it's overwhelming evidence that Donald Trump is, at the bare minimum, if you're living in in reality at all, even if you're the staunchest of Trump supporters. It's very clear Donald Trump knew what was going on with Jeffrey Epstein and at least at some level helped facilitate it, bare minimum. I think most people agree that it went further than that, but whatever. Great conversation with that guy who didn't want to stay up here. Also, hello in the YouTube chat. So glad to catch you live. Well, citizens, thanks for being here. YouTube, you guys are amazing. Wow, look at all you guys in here. Listen, let me on the YouTube side of things. Let me know if the audio is okay because I'm trying to adjust it. We have eyes, my guy. I know. I'm saying. I think I hurt his feelings. I must have because he left. Well, if you're a Trump supporter, you can let me know. We're always it's always a good time. Carrie, good to see you. Trump is innocent, and I'm 6'8" and I play for the Lakers. You got cooked in the Knowles debate. Okay, for sure. I did damn good on the Knowles debate. I look forward to Chrissy getting sued. What am I going to get sued for? Please. And what type of grown adult calls somebody Chrissy? It's like the same shit with Harry. It's like, oh, sissy. I'm like, you are a grown adult. What are you doing? It's good, everyone says. The audio is good. Clear on audio. Thanks, guys. Thanks. I appreciate you. Hello?
Hello, Chris. What's up?
What's up? Have we talked before?
No, we have not.
Okay. Did you vote for Trump?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, Dark Sunray. Always a pleasure. I love you. I appreciate the $2, man. It really means a lot. I don't take that stuff for granted. Thank you so much. Okay. How old are you? Sorry.
I'm 18.
Fantastic. Why'd you vote for Trump?
Wait, I have a different question for you real quick. What'd you think of Bad Bunny's performance at the Super Bowl?
I thought it was great.
Yeah, you think there was any problem with it not being in English?
No. Bad Bunny's the most popular music artist in the entire world. And so, no, I don't. I think there's a lot of people who don't speak Spanish who listen to Bad Bunny. I think even if, there's, 50 million Americans or something whose first language is Spanish, the NFL is trying desperately to expand to a more global ordeal. I think there's like 8 NFL games that are overseas next year or something. So, no, I have no problem with it. In fact, I normally don't really like the Super Bowl halftime show. I watch a lot of football. It's like my main sport besides, I guess basketball is really my main sport.
But you like that one a lot?
I think it was one of my favorite Super Bowl halftime shows. It was good.
Yeah. I see, I could say that, but I didn't really know what was going on because I don't speak Spanish.
Okay.
So, yeah.
That's great. I don't really give a fuck, nor does anyone else. So.
Oh, really? Oh, really, Chris?
Mm-hmm.
Just gonna hit me with that?
Yeah. Anyway, if you're a Trump supporter, you can let me know. Yo, Finn, thanks for the flying jets. I really appreciate you. Yeah, I don't care. Like, why is everyone such a goddamn snowflake these days? Well, I didn't understand the Super Bowl halftime show. Okay. I didn't either. And what are you talking? Like, the most popular music artist in the world, his songs are in Spanish. So he played at the Super Bowl, which is the world championship of football. Football. The United States dominates in a lot of sports. Football is one of them. The big game being like, you're the world champ. The Seahawks are the world champions now. So it's like, yeah, at the world championship, you're probably going to have like the biggest artist perform. So why the fuck do you even care? If you don't like the Super Bowl halftime show, just like don't like it. I don't know. People are weird. Okay, if you're a Trump supporter, you can let me know.
Hello?
What's up?
Hey, so I voted for the Great White Hope, Trump.
I'm sorry, what did you call him?
The Great White Hope.
The Great White Hope.
Yeah.
Okay. How old are you?
I'm 28.
Okay. What state did you vote in?
What state you said?
Mm-hmm.
Down in Florida.
No, that's great. All right, so explain why you like Donald Trump.
The reason why I like Donald Trump is because he built the wall and he's putting the black people back to work because they got lazy. And they forgot how to work, so he's putting them back to work.
You want to elaborate on that last point, Chip?
Yeah, because in America, most black people are socialist, communist.
Really?
So they don't want to work.
That's
But
just
we're going to teach them.
Wow. Well, that's two things. That's like I mean, you're just like really racist. And number two,
Nope.
that statistically isn't true. In fact, I would argue that amongst Democrats right now, two wings of a Democrat Party that are some are more moderate or liberal, and some are more progressive or leftist. Especially older black voters tend to be moderate Democrats, a strong base for people like, I don't know, Joe Biden, for example. So not only are you just like a racist, despicable person, you're also just like wrong. So
Well, Joe Biden is racist.
why do you okay, yeah. So why do you
Joe
believe
Biden
why
said the
yeah,
N-word.
yeah, yo, quiet. Shh. Thanks. So why do you believe in this like racist theory of yours that African American individuals are lazy?
I'm not racist.
Okay, yep. And you're not racist. I'm 6'8" and I play for the Lakers. We can just keep throwing back just provable lies.
You're racist.
Okay.
You want them to be dependent on the government, man,
Why would I want that?
because you want them on that Democrat plantation.
I don't want
Just
anybody.
like your ancestors,
Okay.
man. Just
It
like
just
your
sounds like you're
Democrat.
you're saying literally nothing of substance. You have anything like important to add up here?
Yeah, I got something important to add. You're a beta male, not an alpha man. Yeah, you're beta man.
This,
Why are you beta, man? Why you beta?
is this a troll?
You beta.
You're 28 years old using the term beta male.
Yeah.
Can you turn on your camera?
Why you wanna?
Well, I mean, a real
boyfriend?
alpha male would turn on his camera, please. Let's see what alpha we're dealing with. I'm a beta. You're an alpha, please.
Nah, man, I'm not your boyfriend. I'm not gonna show you.
Uh huh.
I know you want a boyfriend, but
Seems like you're a little bit of an insecure individual there. Big alpha male 28. What do you do for a living, man?
I'm an architectural engineer.
That's fantastic. So, besides being racist, do you have any other reason to vote for Trump? Like, do you have anything else you want to talk about? Epstein files, the economy, immigration, anything else?
Oh yeah, yeah. You gotta build a big beautiful wall and a big beautiful economy.
Okay, so let's add a little more substance to that. So, what piece of legislation did he pass to benefit the big, beautiful economy? What did it do?
He tariffed the people, the supposed allies who were taking advantage of us.
Okay, and why is that good?
So America can stop being used by our so-called allies.
Okay,
So
so
they can't use
can you
us.
explain like how tariffs will stop us from being used?
They're gonna have to pay the price.
Can you so other countries pay for tariffs?
Yeah,
Other countries pay tariffs.
yeah.
Okay. Well, the U.S. businesses pay tariffs.
Did you know that Nike paid a $1 billion?
Can you explain how a tariff works?
Yeah, tariff is a tax.
Okay, so
On,
who pays the tax?
Nike.
Nike pays so U.S. businesses pay the tax.
They're not U.S. business. They're in China.
Okay, so if a business is Jesus Christ, if Nike is based in the United States and they have stores in the United States and they make shirts in China and they want to ship a shirt from China and import it into the United States, there's now a tariff. Who pays the tax?
Yeah, nobody, because nobody's gonna buy it. Nobody's
so-
gonna buy it.
So let's just keep this really simple so we can be on the same like level playing field here. If you want to buy directly from China a good, so you're the importer, a Chinese business is exporting you a good. There's a tariff. Now, there's a tax. Who pays that tax?
Nobody.
So there is no tariffs.
No, I can just buy it for cheaper on TikTok.
Okay. You don't know how a tariff works.
Yeah, the tariff is so people won't buy it. So people will buy the American product.
Right. So I'm not trying to ask how a tariff prevents people from, or I'm sorry, how a tariff incentivizes people to buy American products.
Because they're not gonna buy that overpriced crap now.
Why is it overpriced?
Yeah, because of the tariff.
Right. And who's paying the tariff?
Yeah, people. I agree.
People. All right. Yeah. So,
said that.
I'm just gonna explain this really quickly. Obviously, tariffs are paid for by the importer, so they're paid for by U.S. businesses and passed on partly to consumers. That's why we've seen, Donald Trump got in office. Inflation was 2.9% by I don't know what, either March or April, somewhere around there, inflation was down to 2.4%, and now inflation is back up to 3%. Part of the reason we've seen inflation continue to rise and now hold steady at 3% for several months is because Donald Trump's tariffs, right? And it caused it, in some level, have been inflationary, especially on very specific goods. It's why we see such an increase in certain prices of certain electronics, beef, eggs, whatever. So it's incentivizing people to buy here. Inflation is up. What other good is it doing for us? I feel like it's just destroying our relationships around the world and causing inflation to rise. I mean, Americans right now, most recent Fox News poll, say that Donald Trump's not focused. Majority say Donald Trump's not focused on the right issues. A majority of Americans say things are worse off than they were a year ago today. I think we just had one of our lowest consumer sentiment polling pieces done ever, at least in the last 20 years. Americans not feeling confident about their future. So what are tariffs doing for us besides raising inflation?
They're incentivizing us to build here. Build it here.
Okay. How's that going?
It's amazing.
Amazing?
Awesome.
Before this month, I'll say before last month, before January, the United States lost manufacturing jobs for 13 straight months under Donald Trump. So what amazing thing is happening?
Well, like I said,
13 of the last 14 months in the United States, we have lost manufacturing jobs. And there was a sharp decline when Donald Trump got in office because of these tariffs. So actually, they're not incentivizing people to build. They're doing the opposite. Businesses are going overseas, which it would make sense to you if you understood how tariffs work. But explain that. If manufacturing jobs, a bunch of people are getting laid off from their manufacturing jobs. We're not adding them. I guess we added them finally in January, but 13 straight months.
That's because of Democrats.
Okay, explain that.
Yeah, because they want to give free stuff and socialism.
How is Democrats giving free stuff and socialism under the Trump administration, who holds the House and the Senate and the presidency, causing manufacturing jobs to go down?
Yeah, because they're making everything overpriced.
So Democrats control the prices.
They did.
How is?
And
You said you're a what's your job?
architectural engineer.
I would you got a list of shit that you've helped build, because I never want to drive on it ever or be around it. It's going to fall. It's going to collapse. It's going to fall apart.
Well, I don't build it.
Well, thank God. But you definitely do some planning around it. I hope so. Is there somebody who checks your work?
I just oversee it. That's it.
Well, fucking Jesus Christ. That's not good. You should oversee harder, bro.
Man, at least I have a job, man. You're a parasite.
You are an architectural engineer up here talking about how prices are rising because, quote, Democrats want socialism, buddy. Your IQ is fried. It's like 65. I'm trying to ask you, I've been trying for 10 minutes to go down a conversation about tariffs. You have no idea what's going on. Your head is in the.
Why do you want free stuff, man?
I don't want free stuff. You're just making things up to be angry about. What are you talking about right now? I don't want things to be free. I'm not a communist.
All right, so let me ask you this. Do you think we should have reparations?
Oh my God, bro, you are an insufferable human being. Why will you not address any of what I just said about prices rising, tariffs causing 13 of the last 14 months, manufacturing jobs have gone down in the United States. Inflation is up. Donald Trump Epstein files. He's blatantly violating the Constitution with things he's doing with ICE. What are you doing up here, bro?
Man, but that was all happening already. That was all happening already before Trump.
That was happening already before. That wasn't happening already before Trump. Joe Biden added manufacturing jobs. Joe Biden oversaw what I would argue to be one of the greatest American recoveries, the greatest recovery from COVID in the entire world. And he signed more fiscal legislation than any administration in the last 7 decades on very thin lines in Congress. He signed the largest infrastructure bill since Eisenhower, a bipartisan infrastructure bill. He signed a massive expansion of veterans health care, the PACT Act. Over 1 million veterans signed up in their first month. A $1.7 trillion American Rescue Plan, the biggest investment in public education ever. A $280 billion CHIPS Act, which gave businesses tax cuts to build manufacturing plants, to build chips, to build chips in the United States, which actually led to manufacturing jobs and these companies building huge plants in places like Ohio and the West Coast. On thin lines in Congress, Joe Biden passed more fiscal legislation, meaning legislation for the economy, than any president in modern American history. Donald Trump has the House and the Senate and the presidency, and he has signed less legislation into law up to this point, February 12, 2026, than any administration in 70 years. He's done nothing for you. He's done a lot for himself. He's got super effing rich. He's like tripled his net worth. He's selling pardons to the highest bidder. The corruption's out in the open. He flexes his authoritarian wings. He ignores the judicial branch and loads people into, vans and stuff with ICE, but he's done nothing for you. You're not paying attention to the price increases or anything else because you're too focused on, as a 28-year-old, getting up on TikTok lives and saying, I don't like socialists, I don't like free stuff, and you don't know what a tariff is.
Well, I can name you one thing. He brought $3 trillion of investment, the Great White Hope.
Why do you keep, first of all, I'd love for you to cite, well, it's interesting. You said $3 trillion of investment. Donald Trump claimed this week that there was $18 trillion of investment.
Well, I'll have to look at that.
Yeah, you should. You actually should, because I wrote a list recently. Because and let me see if I still have this. Actually, I don't know that I do, but Donald.
I have a job, man. I can't be keeping up with all this.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's actually like really, really simple stuff to keep up with, like knowing like the basics of like how a tariff works, or like knowing that when Donald Trump says $18 trillion of investment is a lie. Like that's basic shit. It's kind of like wiping your ass. You do that every day? I'd assume so. I'd hope so, right? I can't find the list that I made, but yeah, Donald Trump has claimed $18 trillion, $16 trillion, $8 trillion, $9 trillion, back up to $18 trillion, et cetera. Now you say $3 trillion. He just makes up numbers. I don't know that there's really any investment coming in the United States, but if you could go and cite that for me, I'd love for you to.
Yeah, those were the Saudi investments.
What are you saying right now?
You don't remember when you went to Saudi Arabia?
Oh,
they gave $3 trillion?
No. I was trying to. The word you were saying, I understand. Yeah, please elaborate.
Yeah, you went to Saudi. He made a deal with the Saudi king and the UAE and them, and they invested $3 trillion. The Great White Hope brought home
Why do you
all
keep?
that investment.
I'm sure you know so much about that deal. Why do you keep calling him that?
Because he's strong, he's white, and he's Republican. He's a strong white Republican, and he's leading the country like a man, like a true man.
Like a true man. You have a problem with like any of I mean, obviously, like you don't know anything that's going on in Trump's administration. That's fine. What about Trump as like his person, like his character? Like he's found liable for sexually abusing a woman, liable for defaming that woman, liable for defaming her again. He's got 30. He's a convicted felon, 34 felonies. Like, any of that concern you?
Yeah, it's a fake Me Too. It's a fake Me Too.
Okay.
That's what you guys do, man. You did it to Bill Cosby. You did it to all the people that we loved.
What? Okay.
You guys destroyed our heroes, man. That's what happened.
You did, right. So, but Donald Trump being found liable in a court of law for abusing a woman is not good enough for you?
Fake news.
Why?
Yeah, man, because it's all a bunch of jumbo crap.
It's got to be a troll.
Yeah.
This has to be a troll.
I don't believe it, man. I have to see it. I have to empirically see it for it to be true.
This has to be a troll. Are you trolling?
Do you believe? Okay, you rate me. You rate me. You rate me, bro.
Quiet.
Yeah.
Quiet.
You don't believe that?
Do you have a girlfriend?
I'm married.
Where's your wife right now on 12/16/8? Well, it's 1:16 on the East Coast.
She's upstairs with the kids.
Yeah. All right, bro. I think she's upstairs with another man, bro. Go ahead and get out of my life. I'm out with that one. That was bro. That was crazy. The Great White Hope. I might have to clip that for YouTube right there. Clip the fucking tariff conversation. No, that has to be a troll, dude. There's no way. All right. Yo, Zolino, I'm sorry, I can read so bigly. XON, Nilo maybe. I'm still loving this so much. Thank you for talking to them. Lol, $5 over on YouTube. I actually appreciate you so much. That goes such a long way. Truly, I appreciate you and I love you so much. Thanks for everybody in the YouTube chat. You guys are showing a lot of love. As a heads up, TikTok does not mind if you swear, but you have to avoid explicit names. Got it. I actually appreciate that. Thank you so much. You rock. Yeah, he's got to be a troll, right? Right, chat? All right. Yo, shout out to the people on the YouTube side. Let's see TikTok. What's going on? From Canada. Razor, what's up? Veronica, we missed you. I missed you. He's a 28-year-old on TikTok with his wife. Yeah, she said she's upstairs with the kids. Brother, it's 1:17. Get off TikTok and take care of your kids. I'm 24. I'm up here on TikTok live fucking around. I don't got kids. You're 28 with a kid and a wife. arguing with me on TikTok, bro. Take care of your children, Jesus. Janine, I'm saying, it has to be trolling, right? Has to be trolling. Pasta, what's up? Millie, what's going on? You said take care of your wife. I'm saying, all right, if you're a Trump supporter, you can come up. So good to see everybody. I appreciate you guys all a lot. Hello? Oh, never mind, still loading. Hello?
Hello?
Yo, Care Bear, thank you. Hello?
Hey, what's up?
What's up? How old are you?
19.
19. Beautiful. Why do you like Trump?
So I definitely don't like him on a lot of things, but I think foreign policy is one area where I like him.
Did you vote for him?
Yeah.
Do you regret voting for him?
He's been like 10 ticks worse than I thought he was going to be, but
Well, okay. Well, that wasn't a yes or no answer.
I honestly don't know the answer to that question.
Yeah, that's fair. Have we talked before?
A while ago, yeah.
What did we talk about?
I think the economy, or no, something like that.
We talked about, okay. You know what?
We talked about Biden's DOJ, I think.
User, I love you. I love you. And I hold no hate in my heart. I don't. Unfortunately, at this moment, I've got to look for people I haven't talked to before. I thought I recognized your voice. I promise we could talk again soon. Don't worry. I see your thing. I said, do you regret your vote for Trump? No, yes or no. But we got to go to the next person. We do, unfortunately. It's just how it is. Just the world we're living in, folks.
Hi.
The world does laugh at us. Hello.
So I do support Trump. Like, not as a person, but some of his politics.
How old are you?
18.
What year were you born?
2007.
Okay. Did you vote
July
for
1st.
Did you vote for Trump?
I wasn't old enough to.
Would you
Obviously.
vote for Trump right now if the election was today?
Nah, honestly, no.
I love you. I'm actually, normally I will talk to literally everybody tonight. I'm trying to go a little faster on live tonight. I only,
Hello?
hello?
Hi, I'm 19, 2006.
Amazing. Did you vote for Trump?
Yes.
Why'd you vote for Trump?
Because I don't agree with men being in women's sports. Trans women, to be exact, is what you would call it. But I mostly agree on that. That's why I voted for him.
Is this,
This is what?
is this a troll?
No. Like, he literally erased from, like, men competing in Olympics.
Wait. I'm sorry. He erased.
Like, not erased. He just, like, banned. He made like an executive order to, like, stop letting trans people compete. And, like, the gender, like, sports competition team that they want to. So, yeah, that's the main reason I voted for him. But apart from that, I think I also voted for him because of immigration policies.
Okay. Well, what state are you in, if you don't mind asking?
I'm in Texas.
Okay. So let's start with immigration. I mean, I feel like right now Donald Trump's immigration policy is pretty bad, and we're seeing like ICE, roam around our cities.
I agree that we should not, like, let ICE into our schools, but I really don't think that, like, I don't agree that they should have, like, murdered people, but I agree that they should have just, like, taken them away and checked if they had, like, legal documents to be here or not. And
Right.
they sometimes still do that. But if you're here legally, like, you shouldn't be here. Like, there's people in line, and, like, you have to wait your turn. You can't just jump the line.
Right, but like you're like actively agreeing there that like a lot of people's due process is being violated.
Yeah, mostly, which is what I kind of don't agree with.
Well, I mean that's I just want to point out that's like a really big thing to not agree with. Like in all of like American history. Like when we talk
Yeah,
about
I
like
agree with that.
well, yeah, when we talk about like policies like you agree or don't agree with Like this one is like constitutional crisis level. Don't agree with. So to like not agree with it and still be like, I like Trump for these reasons is like pretty insane. Like I feel like if you're like, hey, people's due process, excuse me, it's being violated like systemically because of the extreme executive authority we're seeing, the expansion of executive authority, I should say. Like that's a pretty good reason to just never argue in Trump's favor ever again. It's pretty fundamental, as that person in the comments said.
Yeah, but listen, there are people in line waiting to get here in this country legally, and immigrants are just like, they're literally like jumping the border. They're literally trying to come here illegally, and they're jumping the line. So
Right
this is like what we're not gonna do.
before I go to that though, like due process, just for a second, like.
Yeah, obviously due process, but still, like, if
But
you're
still,
here legally, you shouldn't be here.
if ICE broke down your door tomorrow and arrested you, and within 24 hours you're told you're going to be loaded on a plane and sent to Djibouti, how would you? I said if ICE knocked down your door tomorrow and arrested you, and within 24 hours you were going to be sent to Djibouti, the country. It's a country.
Yes, I'm sorry.
What's stopping them from doing that?
I mean, they like can't do that
Why?
because I was born here legally.
Okay,
I
so
have,
you
like, my
okay, so you tell the ICE agents like you were born here, and they say we don't care. What's next?
I show them my papers.
Okay,
like my
so
social.
so you show them your papers and their social, and this is just like an ICE agent getting paid $100,000 a year. He doesn't have any judicial powers.
Yeah, I agree that like they should all have due process, but like,
Yeah, no,
if
but I'm
if the
asking
court
you.
finds them liable for like not
Yeah, but
like being
that.
illegal, then
That's what I'm asking. Like a really important question is like if they say they're going to load you on a plane within 24 hours, you tell the ICE agents, hey, here's my ID, and they say we don't care. What's stopping them from deporting you anyways?
I mean, like the Constitution should stop them.
Right.
Like
So a judge rules, hey, this person in my TikTok live guest box right here cannot be deported. It's not allowed. And what's stopping the federal government from doing it anyways?
I mean, like it would like what would stop them
Yeah.
is like my social.
Okay, so
It's
you
like,
you're in.
you're not making
No, I'm
any sense.
I'm actually making perfect sense. I'm describing to you the basics of this is what I think, in my opinion, if America were to cease to exist tomorrow, this is what we'll cause it.
If they deport someone without due process or with due process even still, and they were here legally, then like they should just be deported back to their country from where they came from.
Right, and I'm going to get to that in a second. But if you're in a jail cell and then a judge rules you need to be released, and what's stopping the government from the next morning just ignoring the judge and loading you on a plane anyways?
I mean, like, can I get like an immigration lawyer?
Yeah, so the immigration lawyer goes, you have an immigration lawyer, they petition the judge for an emergency hearing to stop your deportation. The judge rules in favor of you and says you're not going to be deported. What's stopping you from being deported anyways?
The judge.
Fantastic. So the judge has slid over a piece of paper. What is stopping the executive branch from deporting you anyways? The answer to my question, and this is like a basic question as people in my chat go like, that's a crazy hypothetical. I'm describing to you how all checks and balances are just hypothetical, right? There's no physical walls. So when we talk about like the only power a judge has in this country is just sliding across a piece of paper. The only reason we respect it is because for all of modern American history, the people in the executive branch and Congress have seen that piece of paper and said, we respect that as something, we'll listen to this. But when you're talking about and admitting up here that there are people being deported without due process, meaning in some of these cases, we have seen judges say, hey, federal government, you cannot deport that person, and the federal government deports them anyways. And the federal government says, whoops, we shouldn't have done that, sorry. And a judge says, you just violated my court order. It's the definition of constitutional crisis. It's actually confirming to all of us that there is nothing stopping any of us from being loaded up on a plane and deported tomorrow. If the executive branch does not listen to the judicial branch and Congress won't hold the executive in check, there's 3 branches of government, then it's full-blown constitutional crisis. There are no checks, and there at least, and some of our checks and balances are starting to cease to exist. So I just think it's very fundamental to like the basics of how our government works. If people's due processes are getting violated, then like that's DEFCON 1. But anyways.
Yeah, so yeah, due process has like always been a thing. If they violate that, then I don't really agree with it. But at the end of the day, like, I have a question. Kind of, I don't know if it's on topic or not, but
Mhm.
like, what's your opinion on like, do you think we should like all like ICE stations should deport like the immigrants that like are like murdering innocent people on our streets?
Yes, I think that I think undocumented people who commit violent crimes should be deported. But I also think it's
Okay.
important to say that, like, obviously undocumented people are less likely to commit violent crimes. I don't think
Do
we
you
should.
think residents from that come from another country and they start murdering innocent people should also be like, taken off their residency and deported?
Yeah, I think people who commit violent crimes, if they're not legally in the United States, should be deported. Yes.
No, but like if they are resident.
Then, if they're legally in the United States,
Yeah.
then no, we should not deport them to another country. They should have a judicial. They should. I'm sorry. They should see.
Isn't that what some I
They should
correct
see
me
it.
if
They
I'm
should see a
wrong.
court of law and then go to jail.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't that what some judges are doing right now? They take away like murderers' residence their residency off and they just deport them back if they murder innocent people. That's
Uh,
something I heard.
yeah. I mean, I think maybe like I'm sure there's cases in which like if you have legal status in the United States, so like you're not a citizen, but like you have legal status. For example, like if you're this doesn't really apply now because like the Trump administration, but I'm just gonna ignore that for now. If you have like legal status, meaning you're like an asylum seeker, and you're pending a court date, or you're I don't know have like a visa, you're here on a visa that expires in like a year. If you commit a violent crime, then yeah, I'm sure. I mean, I don't know the specifics, but it wouldn't surprise me if those things are just like rescinded. Like, okay, these are being taken away and you're being deported. Like, I don't know if that's how that works, but I'd assume
I
temporary
mean,
legal status.
that's what I heard. I'm not sure if it's true.
Yeah, it
But
sounds pretty
do
accurate.
you want to move on to like the next topic I want to try to discuss?
Yeah, sure. I just feel like the whole
So
due
I think
process thing.
I already told you my opposition against trans women being in our sports.
Like, can I? I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I'm harping here, but like we just went down a whole conversation about like the U.S. government.
Isn't that part of politics too?
It,
How
it
a lot of Democrats want to let men in our women's
well,
sports.
hold on. It is currently a political conversation. Like I just think, and I hope people feel this who are watching right now. Like,
These aren't real problems. There are men in dresses
can I
and
can I
they sound like a man and they even have masculine
can I can I
like features. They come into our restrooms, into our locker rooms, and we are just freaked out.
can I finish speaking?
And y'all support this.
Can I finish
How
speaking?
is this okay?
Can I finish speaking?
Go ahead.
I just before again I address the point you're making, which I will, and not to harp on this, but like there are people watching right now who I think have the same feeling as me, who say, I just described to you, like and you agreed at some level, this like people not having due process. There was a judge this week who ruled against ICE in Minnesota, who was a Bush-appointed judge.
Okay, so why
Can
are
wait,
you
please?
changing my
I'm
claim?
going to respond to your claim. Please let me finish. There was a Bush-appointed judge this week in Minnesota, ruling against ICE in something or other, and I read the ruling, and it was honestly quite shocking. But this is a quote, just really quickly, and I promise I will talk to you about trans individuals playing sports. I promise. This is. Hold on, 2 seconds. Everybody, double tap screen. Appreciate everybody being here. This is the exact quote, if I can find it. Here we go. Minnesota, Bush-appointed judge, ruling on something that's not important, but, I mean, it is really important, but also saying this. Attached to this order is an appendix that identifies 96 court orders that ICE has violated in 74 cases in January 2026. ICE has likely violated more court orders in January of 2026 than some federal agencies have violated in their entire existence. Okay, we're talking about the federal government at a mass scale violating the orders, violating court orders, violating the judicial branch. In my opinion, at this point, the definition of a constitutional crisis, a grave threat, I would argue the greatest threat, if you understand government, in my opinion, the greatest threat to our democracy probably since the Civil War, okay? There's 3 branches of government. Congress is completely ineffective. The executive branch isn't listening to the judicial branch, and the judicial branch is holding on by a thread. As, again, the judicial branch, who interprets the law based on the Constitution, is at least at some level consistently being ignored. What is the point of a Constitution that we all hold so dear if the executive branch doesn't have to listen to the people who interpret the law based on the Constitution? The reason it's called constitutional crisis is because if the executive branch doesn't have to listen to the judicial branch, we might as well have Trump law. The executive branch can make up their laws. The reason I say this is because being such a grave threat to our republic, and then us being like, all right, let's talk about the other subject in politics, people playing sports. It's like, right? That kind of falls on deaf ears. Regardless, to your point, I think that there's how many, I will now address your point. Sorry for harping. How many trans athletes are there in the NCAA?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but there's like between 5 and 10. I'm not sure.
Correct.
Okay, so even still, they're like affecting our sports. Like there's a lot of these girls, like in schools, like mostly in blue states, right? Like California, New York, or like, they let these biological men in our sports, and then there's this wannabe girl who goes by like AB, and like he was literally in the California sports, and he was like in his school sports, right? And he was playing, and he always got first place, and then Trump threatened to defund California or whatever because of this, because like a lot of girls, like biological girls, were they were playing with this boy in our sports, and they kept losing because of his strength. Like, believe it, like obviously, like biological men will have like a lot of strength instead of ours. We will have less strength, and because they have more muscle mass due to their testosterone levels or through puberty. So like, how is this fair? How do you want this? Like, you're not a protector of women. Like, you claim you protect women, but you don't protect us from men in our sports or our restrooms. Like, how? Like, what is this?
Yeah, so I'll answer the question. Number one, I'm fine with anybody playing any sports, and I believe that this issue, in my opinion, has been hyper politicized by specifically Republican politicians, just to like demonize trans people, because in reality, this issue has nothing to do with government. Government should play no role in this issue, in my opinion. I think that this should be up to like any given organization in sport, like the NCAA, to make these rules. And before Donald Trump and Republicans politicized trans people because they like taking these people, human beings who are trying to live their life and be the happiest possible. Before Trump tried to, demonize these individuals, the NCAA did have rules on it. And it was, you can play sports. And it was fine. It was fine until Republicans came along. So, I'm like, it's supportive of everybody playing sports. I'm very supportive of the LGBTQ plus community. And I think, like most of these individuals, like all of these individuals, are just trying to be happy and live their lives. And if we run up on scenarios where people have, can I finish speaking? If we run up on scenarios where people have questions about specific sports and such, I would really like this to not be such the government has no role in this, in my opinion. I feel like individual leagues can figure it out, but I think that we should let sports be incredibly accessible and all people can play them. With that being said, to your last point about Democrats not protecting women and not keeping you safe in locker rooms.
I mean, obviously.
The president of the United States rapes women. Okay, so I just don't. I have.
To be honest, I agree with that. That's why I regret my vote. But still, I don't. I stand my point that we shouldn't let these men in our sports, because like they can live happily. Yes, trans people can live like happily. Yes, they can live their lives, but we can live in reality. Don't come in our bathrooms claiming that you're a woman or a man. Don't come in our sports trying to compete with us because like against us, or because you will win because of your strength. And like, we will never have, us biological women will never have the chance to win.
I don't believe two things here. I want to first to the bathroom point. Like, I don't like the suggestion that when we say like people coming in our bathrooms, like society's acceptance of people in the LGBTQ plus community or laws that are passed based on that do not change the ability for people to go into bathrooms. And I think that like we're starting with an idea. You say, I don't, people aren't comfortable if people who don't look like them go into another bathroom. If I'm in a woman's bathroom and somebody who doesn't look like a woman comes into the bathroom, that makes me uncomfortable. And thus,
Filipino.
and thus fighting against these laws. Like nothing is stopping me right now, a straight white man. Nothing is stopping me from walking in. Like if I walked into Target tomorrow, I could probably be
Doesn't
in the,
make a difference. You
no,
shouldn't go in
but
there
wait,
either.
hold on. This does make a pretty key difference in my mind because nothing's stopping me from walking in the women's restroom, and I could probably be there for 5 or 10 minutes before somebody says something and something happens, right? My point here is that we're suggesting that there's, I don't know, like a group of people who are waiting to commit potentially a violent act or do something inappropriate, and they're just waiting for like the laws to change or society to change to give them the ability to do it. And I also feel like it kind of raises this suggestion that just because somebody is part of the LGBTQ plus community, they're more likely to, I don't know, like be creepy or commit a crime, when that's just like not the case. Like, why do what I'm trying to say here, and I actually genuinely, this is a genuine question, like why, it's not like there's like a wall physically stopping me from going in the bathroom right now. Why are we all?
Doesn't make a keen difference, babes.
But
Doesn't make a keen
it does. I
difference.
feel like it makes a huge difference. Why are you acting as if these laws, like Democrats getting
Because
power
you're
and
a
everything's going to
biological man,
change?
Trans women are biological men. Y'all cannot come in our restrooms like still. Even if you present yourself as the sex you were born, you cannot come
Okay,
in your
but
restrooms regardless if you want to wear a dress or makeup or not.
okay, but my question was like, how does the law or politics like change any of that?
So right now, if I'm right, in Texas, they don't allow trans women to go into
Okay, so what if
government building
so
restrooms
you're saying that
or
they're
school restrooms,
okay.
which is good, but
Okay.
still it's
Well,
not
number one,
enough.
I don't think that law is like stopping anyone or anything. And number two, I actually believe that law, in my opinion, if you actually understand
It
anything,
kind of does. There
well,
is
no, I actually think that this law is incredibly dangerous for people who are part of this community, and partly for I think would make potentially women and men more uncomfortable.
thank you for the
Nine,
gifts.
99%, you have seen many people who are transgender in your life. You've just never realized it because you usually can't tell. So, like, if you actually in these laws, if like people were to be forced to use the bathroom they were assigned to, the sex they were assigned at birth, I actually think what ends up occurring at some level is you have
I have a
people
question.
walking into your bathroom who appear in your world male.
How does it still affect for trans women who want to be women to go into their correct assigned restroom? How does it affect them to go in there, but still be who they are, but respect like who they were, like they were born as, like what gender they were born as, and like how does it affect them to go into the male's restroom?
I'm sorry,
Like how?
I didn't even hear what you said, to be honest.
What?
I did not hear
How
what you said.
how does has any trans woman ever been SA'd in a men's restroom?
I don't know.
Okay, cool. And how many women have been assaulted in the women's restroom by trans women? Tell me. You can literally go search it right now. It'll tell you how many have been assaulted and the cases. But if you search up any trans woman who has been SA'd by a male in the male's restroom, it won't tell you anything because that's simply not true.
I'm gonna be completely honest. Like I don't. No, it's not a C. Like I genuinely don't understand what you just said. Like I'm still confused. That seemed
Okay.
confusing to me.
So how does it affect for a male who wants to be a female to go into his correct assigned restroom, like his correct sex assigned restroom, like male, like who claims to be a trans woman and does hormones or
Okay.
whatever?
Yeah.
But how does it affect? Why
because
does it affect them to go into the male's restroom?
yeah, because I think that like again, I think if I'm understanding what you're trying to ask, most trans individuals who again just want to live their life and don't want to be a part of these conversations or these issues because they just want to be happy. Like
They
most,
can be happy, but they need to live in reality.
can I speak?
We need to live in
Actually,
reality.
so that's that right there, right? So like, actually, they don't need to do anything that you think they need to do, right? Believe it or not, it used to be a core, and I this is my view as like, see, that pisses me off. That pisses me off a lot.
You're not a protector of women.
Can I please speak? Can I finish speaking and I will answer your question? Okay? That pisses me off a lot because you say they need to live in reality. Again, just like the way we're talking about these groups is like very dehumanizing. But people don't need to do anything that you say. I'm a straight white male in America. I'm 24 years old. I've talked to people who use different pronouns than me. I've talked to people who don't look like me. And you know what? You know how often I understand fundamentally, like why they may think that way or dress that way or whatever? I don't. I rarely ever. But I don't believe that other people are actually required to live how I live at all. I'm under the belief that if you don't hurt anybody, you should be happy, you should live how you want to live, and we should support those communities. You are showing, can you be quiet? Appreciate that. You got one more before I just kick you out, okay? Because I just went on a whole like constitutional crisis thing that you don't care about, and now you're so worked up about a stupid fucking issue that's not an issue because we want to demonize fucking groups of people. Never once in my life, as a straight white male, have I ever thought about other people who don't look like me. I walk into the bathroom, I see someone who doesn't look like me, I think to myself, they're comfortable using the bathroom here, and I leave, okay? And to answer your question, the question that you're asking is, again, most individuals who are part of these communities, you would not be able to tell that I have met, I'll tell you a true story, okay? And I'm not gonna use names because it's not my place. But there's somebody on TikTok here who their account is about transitioning. And they transitioned a while ago. And I apologize if I don't use the right terminology here. I'm going to try my best. I met said person. Was born a woman, transitioned. I met said person on a weekend, essentially, with a group of other content creators. And for an entire day and a half, full day, chopped it up with my guy. Chopped it up. Great dude. Super fun to be around. Funny. We instantly were like, we clicked. We had like similar humor and stuff. And I remember talking to somebody else who was there with me, another friend of mine. We leave. I'm like, yo, bro, X name that I can't say out loud. That dude's cool as hell. He's like, yeah, bro, he is really cool. He's nice, because we were kind of annoyed by other people there. I didn't learn until the third day of this trip that this individual was born a woman. I had no idea. His content was about it. I had no idea. And I even looked at him, I was like, wow, I would have never been able to tell that, right? And the reason I'm saying this is because this issue has been so hyper-politicized by Republicans. We are under the assumption all the time, and been hyper-politicized in general, and everybody wants to get online and put a camera in their face. Most people that you meet, you are not going to be able to tell. And so actually, to answer your question, the individual I'm referencing in my personal story, if they were to follow the law in Texas, that would mean that them appearing, I would literally argue, appearing more like a man, I don't know what the correct term there is, but appearing more like a man than me. Full beard and everything. I can't even grow a beard. I have a baby face. They appear more masculine, if you will, than me. By your standard, that law, they would walk into the woman's restroom. Whereas right now they're walking into the man's restroom, and I guarantee for a fact not a single person has ever been able to tell. And so that is the answer to your question, which is I actually think it would do more harm for all parties involved, especially the trans individuals who go through an immense amount of violence, like hate crimes and stuff, to be passing these laws when in reality, people should just do what makes them happy. I answered your question, by the way. Just want to point that out. I did answer the question.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So my whole point in this is that like a man who wants to be a woman should know, like we can't tell obviously, but the whole point about this is that he knows that he knows that he's a biological man, that he cannot use our restroom. That's the whole point of this. He should know that he needs to respect our privacy. Regardless if he passes as a female or not, we don't want a biological male in our restrooms. Do you understand the word biological? You're not protecting us. Democratic politicians are not protecting us. They claim that they're protectors of women, but they're not protecting us from biological men in our sports. And there's a ton of people in this life who agree with me.
Can I'm harping on a previous point here, because I mentioned the things that Donald Trump has done, and you said, quote, that's why I regret my vote. Do you believe that Republicans and Donald Trump protect women?
So
It's a yes or no question.
Yes.
Oh my. Wait, so hold on a second. So a second ago you agreed.
Republican politicians.
A second ago you agreed that Donald Trump essays.
Because they're preventing men in women's sports and men and women in men's sports.
Do you think Donald Trump is building a culture of SA right now in the United States? Because Donald Trump has been found liable and you partly agreed to the sentence that I said.
How the hell is that different from men being in women's sports? Why are you comparing another topic to another topic? You just sound dumb at this point. You're not a protector of women. You're not protecting us. You're not protecting us. Nobody here who is a liberal is protecting us from men in our sports. This is sad. This is the reality.
The reason I went to a different topic is because you're using the term, quote, you, referring to me, quote, aren't protecting women. Democrats are not protecting women. And I, on the term of protecting from a fucking soccer ball, I'm referring to like cases where, women are assaulted, which I think Donald Trump has done a grave disservice to the United States, building a culture where men think that's acceptable. That's why I asked you, do you feel like Donald Trump's protecting women? Because you may be under the impression in whatever world you live in that like, I want to, Riley Gaines, came in 5th place swimming, and so like she's your hero or something.
Yes, because she was.
Can I finish? Can I finish asking you a question? She tied for 5th place, and the 4 other women came in 1st. So actually, she just fucking blows at swimming. But if your position is that Riley Gaines isn't being protected because she's a shitty fucking swimmer, then I would also assume that you also hold the position that Donald Trump, I don't know, bragging about sexually abusing women. He's actually at some way, in some levels, all the levels, worse at not protecting women. One is about swimming, the other is about abusing women. Do you agree with that?
The fact that you're not grasping the word biological that I keep saying is fucking dumb.
All right, bro. You know what? You were respectful. I actually do believe you were respectful. My brain can't do this anymore. And my brain can't do this anymore because the first half of this was calmer when I was talking about literal constitutional crisis. And I swear to God, if the United States ceases to exist, this will be why. Motherfuckers are the United States we are walking around with our heads shoved up our ass. People think democracy is handed to you. People forget that fucking Americans stormed the beaches of Normandy to try to save democracy in Europe. They don't understand the basics of the fucking of checks and balances. They don't understand the basics of the executive branch. You are watching it at some level. I'm not trying to fearmonger, but you have seen objectively the largest. And some people may say, Chris, you're right. It is the largest expansion of executive authority in modern American history. You're seeing all power really, like the president now gaining immense amount of power and being able to do things he previously couldn't. Some people would argue it's happening, but it's not the end of the world. Yes, we've seen judges ignored at some point, but it's not the end of the world. It's still in place at some level, and that may be true, okay? But there is nobody, I don't think, that can argue that it is not a grave threat to democracy right now, and one of the biggest crises in the last, since the Civil War in the United States. Our democracy, how Congress is completely literally doesn't function, doesn't hold the executive branch to account ever, all these different things. And it's like, I'm like, the only thing we're getting mad about is fucking Riley Gaines being a shitty fucking 5th place swimmer. I'm glad that Riley Gaines is mad that she can only fucking be a 5th place swimmer and now she has a Fox deal. That's amazing. She makes fucking $500,000 a year showing up on Fox, bitching about sports while our democracy falls apart and Donald Trump assaults women. Okay? So this shit is just, oh my God, man, fuck. And I'm not trying to suggest that the issue is not important, right? And again, some level, all political issues are important, but like, I just really feel like this is a non-issue, right? I think it's a majority issue. I think it's not. I think it's an issue that's been hyper politicized. I really, from a fundamental political belief system, I don't believe that it's a government. It should be an issue that relates to government. Like, why should I don't believe that the government should play a role almost at all ever in healthcare. Why would I believe that the government should be regulating sports? These fucking people who believe in small government want the government to basically regulate away everything that's not a straight white man. They want to regulate women's healthcare. They want to regulate, who plays in what sports. They want to regulate who goes in what bathroom. They want to regulate all these things. We're the party of small government. I'm like, as a Democrat who fundamentally believes at some level definitely in some level, who fundamentally believes in bigger government, not in this state. This government is set up in a atrocious way. We need about 5 amendments to the Constitution. But in a perfect world where there was 5 extra amendments to the Constitution protecting democracy, I certainly believe in much bigger government. There's no question about it. But even as somebody who believes in bigger government, I don't believe that the government should have a role in sports. I don't believe that the government should have a role in healthcare. I believe the government should have a role protecting a lot of these individuals that we're talking about here that are actually the ones under assault, like members of the LGBTQ plus community, people who don't look like me, people who, people don't look like me. Anyways, oh my gosh. All right, we'll let up another MAGA. Man, you guys are showing love. People like the camera, man. I'm always doubling, tripling my views with the professional camera. Thanks for everybody over on YouTube showing all the love. I've been reading your comments. And also, I want to point out, thank you so much for the $10 over on YouTube, Victoria. It means so much to me, truly. I hope you know that is not something I take for granted, ever. I'm so lucky to be able to do this like every single day and just scream about what I love, which is politics. And so from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Thank you. You mean the absolute world to me, Victoria. Natalie, I believe, thank you so much for $5. Homegirl, look up who's essaying women, correct. I appreciate you so fucking much. The caller has never talked with a trans person, Jackie says, $2.11. Exactly. Every single conversation we have is always just like, again, this like, it's like a demonization of a community that's like the individuals just like have this, they have made up this entire idea of what other people who aren't like them are. And they're just like it's just like social media and Fox has like infected that viewpoint. I know there was somebody else, I think sent $20 over on YouTube, and I appreciate you so much, but my thing won't scroll up that much. I'm so sorry. Victoria, you're amazing. Jackie, Ebe, do a meet with Kyle. Kyle who? Kyle, question mark. Thank you guys so much for all the love on YouTube. I really appreciate you so much. You're the best. Pam Bondi disrespected survivors today. It was literally one of the worst congressional hearings, maybe ever. Or just talking points to them. I'm sorry. South Park, it's hey, one day at a time. One day at a time. All right, what's up, TikTok? What's up? I love everybody over on YouTube. We'll never get Epstein files. Yeah, it's bad. TikTok, thanks for being here. Double tap screen. We'll let up a Trump supporter. Do you believe the news about Iran? What news about Iran? Did we strike Iran? Oh, Lou, thank you. I love you. You're the best. Bro, what? I don't see any news about Iran. Okay, LJ, great to see you.
Hey Chris, it's me again. Can I stuff and pound your cakes, please? It's me again.
Bro.
You can't
Maddie, good to see you. I joined your fan club for 1 year. That's an interesting. Thank you for that. Do I have subs on? Is that what that means? No. Oh my god.
Yo, what's going on?
How old are you?
19.
Okay. Why do you like Trump?
Because he is the greatest president in modern history.
Why is that?
Because what he's doing with deportation.
That's it? That's what makes him the greatest president in modern American history?
Yeah, I'd say just about that.
Wow. Joe Biden passes more fiscal legislation than any administration in American history. Barack Obama gives tens of millions of people health care. There's so many wins for U.S. presidents, and you're going with fucking just complete nonsensical garbage. So what do you like about it?
How's it nonsensical garbage?
I'm actually going to let you explain the nonsensical garbage. We're all just going to listen to you make a fool of yourself. Please go ahead.
Explain what exactly?
I'm playing. You said he's the greatest president, one of the greatest presidents in modern American history because of...
I said the.
Yeah, fantastic. The greatest president in modern American history because of deportations. And so I'd love to hear you elaborate.
Oh, well, because it is...
Wait, Phil. Who is Phil?
Stop! No, please don't say that word. Please stop. Please, no, stop, please.
Oh, are you a troll?
No, I'm not a troll. I've debated Dean and Parker tens of times.
And how did that go for you?
I've owned them every single time. It's been pretty easy, honestly. Can you give me 1 second? I gotta get me something.
Guys, well, everybody in the chat knows Phil, man.
Yes, they all know me because they're all. I don't want to get restricted. They're all like not good people, man.
A
But yeah,
known rage baiter. Okay, go. Yeah, go.
I'm not a rage baiter. It's
Okay,
as simple as I debate.
dude, everyone's spamming Phil. Okay, yeah, go ahead. Yeah,
Okay, can you give me 1 second, real quick?
please.
Okay, so yes, he is the greatest president in modern American history. Because well, what he's doing with deportation, which opens up more jobs for the average U.S. citizen, because immigrants are working for under minimum wage, which closes up jobs for the U.S. citizens.
Anything else?
Well, can you respond to that point?
Yeah, sure. Well, first of all, two things. I'd actually, well, three things. Number one, I don't think that there's sufficient evidence that suggests that undocumented people working are lowering wages for Americans. Second,
Well, they are.
Can I finish?
Okay, yeah.
Second point, that goes to the first point. I actually believe that from a fiscal standpoint, undocumented people have done, based on there's a Cato Institute study that was released this week, or last week, I'm sorry. And it was one of the most comprehensive looks at undocumented people and their role on, and immigrants as a whole, and their role on the deficit and the debt. And with that, with reading that study, I'm firmly under the belief now that, and relating to the first point, that undocumented people have done nothing, have provided a massive net benefit to the American people from a fiscal point, including for jobs. And that is because, according to this study, what is going on, bro?
I like talking face to face. That's why.
What are you wearing, bro?
So you can continue. A ski mask, because Dean fans have threatened to dox me, so I just have to cover my face. But I'm sorry to interrupt you. Keep going.
Okay. Okay. Dude, who is Phil? Who the fuck is Phil?
Bro, stop saying that, please. Please, can we just get to the debate and can we ignore the P word stuff?
Guys, Jack, can you tell me who this guy is?
Please stop, bro. I don't want to have to do this right now. It's 2 a.m. for me. I'm trying to have a genuine one-on-one debate.
Dude, Chad is fucking dying right now with the Phil stuff. Okay.
Yeah, can we stop? Can we please say the P word, please? Like, can we, like, please? I'm asking you nicely.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to answer your question.
Oh, yeah.
There was a Cato Institute study that came out last week that shows that undocumented people and immigrants as a whole were a massive net positive on the deficit and the debt. Undocumented people have taken in since 1994 roughly $10 trillion, have used roughly $6 trillion in benefits from the U.S. government since 1994. They have paid in taxes roughly $10 trillion. That's a $4 trillion surplus, and the debt, the amount that they have saved us, the interest on the debt, because if they are providing us a $4 trillion surplus, there's not as much debt being added, and we're not paying interest on that hypothetical debt, which means they've saved us roughly another $1.7 trillion in debt-related payments interest-related payments on debt. Immigrants as a whole, undocumented or documented, have equated to a roughly $14.5 trillion surplus for the U.S. government since 1994. A lot of this is because the money that we do spend on undocumented or documented people doesn't fluctuate based on the money the U.S. government spends doesn't fluctuate based largely on population. Our largest spends being stuff like military budget, interest on debt, NASA space programs. Those things don't fluctuate based on population. If there's more undocumented people, they are also significantly less likely to be incarcerated for crimes, even though the crime that most of them are incarcerated for, people like me can't commit. So we're not spending nearly as much money on normal citizens for them to be sitting in our prisons. They're less likely to be educated, so we're not spending money on them being educated. They're 12 percentage points more likely to be working and more likely to be working longer hours, meaning they're paying essentially more in taxes on any given idea. Not only have they been beneficial in this way, and this study highlighting that if all these individuals didn't benefit the debt in this way, that the U.S. GDP to debt ratio in 2023 would have been roughly 205%, which is astronomical. Like our essentially claiming that our economy would have been completely destroyed without all these individuals. I will end with the point that there's not enough native-born U.S. workers to work every single job. So if all these undocumented people left, it would also really hurt U.S. citizens because a bunch of U.S. businesses would close, and there's not enough U.S. citizens, not enough people in our labor force to work every single job. So businesses would be forced to close, thus actually lay off American workers who are working there and lead to massive unemployment for Americans. All the things said, I don't think undocumented people are really that bad fiscally. Maybe there's net negatives fiscally in other places. I just don't really think it's that big a deal. The way
So
it stands.
I think it's illegal immigrants, at least, immigrants, whatever, I don't care about them. Illegal immigrants are not good for our national security. They're not good for simple basis like like I said, national security. The jobs thing, you said a whole bunch of words, but you didn't ever really respond to my point other than it helps the economy, which I think is irrelevant because they're working for under minimum wage. Yes, they still pay taxes, but they get paid under the table, so they're only paying taxes whenever they buy stuff from the grocery store.
Do you have evidence that all these individuals are being paid under minimum wage?
Well, because they all work for they don't work at like McDonald's because you'd have to have like papers to go get a job there. They work for like on farms. They work at like.
Well, I mean that's not necessarily true.
I mean, unless they steal somebody's papers. Which
I mean, there's also like significantly there's like state law on this varies like in a lot of different places, but you can be undocumented and fill out that paperwork. You can have a tax ID number and fill out the paperwork to get direct deposits. It depends what state and municipality you're in. Also, even if that weren't the case, I'd be hard pressed to know that there aren't a lot of places that hire individuals anyway and pay them a livable wage because that's what's required by state law. But yeah, there's plenty of undocumented people who don't have a social security number but have applied through the federal government for a tax ID number or a different, I don't know the exact name of the alternative social security number if you're not a citizen. But yeah, you could use that to like apply for jobs. It just depends on the state.
Okay, well, I mean, unless they're working at like an actual business, if it's like a farm or something, they're getting paid under the table. They're getting I would have to pull up a source exactly, but they're getting paid under the table for under minimum wage.
Yeah, but I'm also still not convinced that even if there's a swath of people getting paid under the table, that all of them are getting paid under minimum wage. You just have to source that.
So you're saying that somebody who owns a farm or owns a small business or something is going to pay them as much as a normal person with the risk of them getting deported and just like losing out on the job?
They may, yes.
Yeah, so that's why they pay under minimum wage.
No, well, first of all, again, that's just how you feel.
No, that's how it is.
No, it's not. No. It's not how it is. It's how you feel. I'm not sure that. Hold on. Can I finish speaking? Not only do you not have any statistical evidence for it, but I could make a perfectly logical argument back to that, which is somebody who owns a business who's hiring full-time workers. If somebody who's, let's say, not documented comes in and says, I want to be paid under the table, I want to be paid the same as everybody else, but because I'm getting paid under the table and I'm undocumented, I'm not asking for benefits. So you don't have to pay me health insurance. You don't have to pay me dental, all these things that a lot of these businesses will provide. And so a business owner will agree and say, okay, I'll pay you the normal rate. And they are actually maybe, in your world, they may be happy because they say, I don't have to give these individuals benefits. Furthermore, even if that wasn't the case, I actually am under the belief that there's a lot of business owners who just would believe it's morally wrong to pay somebody under minimum wage. I'm sure it happens in places, but to suggest that just because somebody's undocumented and a business owner has the opportunity to pay someone under minimum wage, I don't know that necessarily means that they will pay somebody under minimum wage. We all have the opportunity to do things that aren't fucking right all the time. I mean, my mom could if I'm at my mom's house, she could leave her wallet on the table, and I could be strapped for cash. That doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to take $20 from her because there's a moral boundary there, but whatever.
Well, I think they would still why would you take the risk of them getting deported and you getting in trouble for hiring? I don't
know, but I also don't care because we could go back and forth about how we both feel about this. Regardless, you've made a claim and you have no evidence to back it up because I don't think that evidence.
I can pull up a source.
Please.
Okay, let me pull up a source.
Do you work for ICE, bro?
Do I work for it? And if I did, would there be a problem with that?
I mean, I'm just asking a yes or no question.
Anyway,
mean,
so
you look like you're about 12 years old, but honestly, I mean, they lower the requirements for ICE, so you could literally be 18
I
and
do
like.
not look like
Do you
Anyway,
work?
so
Do you?
what was I pulling up?
Can you answer the question I asked you?
No,
Do you work for ICE?
no,
You don't work for ICE.
no,
What do you do for a living?
no. What was I pulling up a source for? Again, I forgot. Oh yeah, immigrants getting paid for under minimum wage.
And also, like, even if you can like prove that this is happening, which I didn't say it wasn't happening, I want you to be able to prove that it's happening at a mass scale, causing people to, I don't know, have lower wages overall.
Yeah. So, I'd have to.
Lear. Can you tell me why you dislike the name Phil? And why are people saying sea turtle?
Oh, it's a whole thing. Sea turtle radiation. It's a radiation that can transmit through your TV. Blah blah blah. Infiltrate your mind. Open up your spiritual third eye. But so I was pulling up.
Wait, I'm sorry. Before you pull up your source, let's take a time out. That doesn't really sound like a blah blah blah. Please, can you just elaborate on that for a moment?
So you want okay. So basically, sea turtle radiation is a radiation that can transmit through a TV or device that can infiltrate your mind, opening up your spiritual third eye, and make you see past spells and manipulation tactics.
And
I teach this all the time on my page.
How do I get that?
How do you get the spells?
This shit sounds like fucking Naruto, dude. Can I like Goku this, like Kamehameha or something? How do I? Wait. So I'm sorry. Can you describe it again? So if it's playing through my TV, then I'm good, or I'm not.
So basically, the video is called 8 Hours Relaxing Music with Sea Turtles in Hawaii by Escapes. It's a radiation that can because sea turtles hold radiation. I mean, you can do your own research. It transmits through your TV, infiltrates your mind, opens up your spiritual third eye, which can make you see past spells and manipulation tactics by Dean Withers or Parker Get a Job or Santana grifts for you. Parker grift a job, Dean grifters, Matthew Libertarian or whatever, any of them. You can see past all of their spells and manipulation tactics. Basically, I don't know. It's a big long thing.
How does the radiation from a sea turtle get through the TV?
Well, because it transmits through the TV and like it can infiltrate your mind. You don't have to watch it. You just have to like be in the same room as the TV that's playing the sea turtle radiation, and it can transmit, infiltrating your mind and open up.
But you're claiming that sea turtles actually, like actual sea turtles, physical sea turtles, have some amount of radiation?
Yes.
Okay, and that's getting through the TV.
Yes, by watching it, it can transmit through your TV.
But how is that happening? I
don't know. I mean, I could pull up exactly how it happens, but I don't necessarily like. The other day, Dean Withers gave me like a stomach bug. So like, I watched some I was throwing up and stuff, and I watched some sea turtle radiation, and I didn't puke at all.
How did Dean Withers give you a stomach bug?
Oh, because he casted a spell on me. That's why. Because like he tries to do all kinds of things. Like he's a grift. I don't know. He's like a grifter. He casts spells on me and basically he casted a bug spell on me and I got a stomach bug because I was watching the Super Bowl. Then I wake up the next morning and I'm puking everywhere and stuff. And yeah, so he casted a spell on me and simply I turned on some sea turtle radiation and I didn't throw up anymore.
Got it. For sure.
Get back to the debate.
Yep.
Okay, so I was looking up what exactly. Can you remind me?
Undocumented people lowering wages for.
Oh yeah. Okay. Unauthorized immigrants appear more likely to be paid below minimum wage than other workers. Let me give you an exact source. Hold on. I was reading off of. Is this like something you do?
No, I'm staring at the chat here. Continue. I'm listening.
Hold on. Let me get you a source real quick. So the work. Hold on. Let me give you a good one. I don't know if this is a reliable or good source here, but why are you looking at me like that?
Phil, or I don't know your name. Appreciate you being respectful. I'm mad confused, dude. Chat is... Yo, Taylor, good to see you. Chat's got me dying over here, dude. I don't know what is going on. Bro. Sea turtle radiation, dude. Bro, why does YouTube not let me see? I see people being so kind to be sending super chats, and I can't. They disappear after a while. How do I go back and be seeing them, bro? Oh wait, I did it. Jackie, thank you so much for $11. You guys are so kind. I never take this for granted. Please know that. I love you. I am so grateful to be able to talk to people. I talk to people about stuff, about politics. I care about this so much. And the fact that anyone would be willing at all to donate monetarily means the absolute, like literally means the world to me. I can't say it enough. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. Jackie, $11 is crazy. That's literally, that's 2 crisp Celsiuses tomorrow morning, because I drink 2 Celsiuses every morning back to back. Some people tell me, Chris, that's 400 milligrams of caffeine. That's a lot. I say, I think it's just fine. His name is Creed, I think. He does not respect the names. Oh, so the internet has turned on him and named him Phil as to not respect his name, because apparently he doesn't respect the names of transgender people. I understand. Jackie, thank you for clearing that up. And thank you for the $11. It means a lot. Phil, his name is then. I like that a lot. Bro, Holler, $30 on YouTube, literally insanity. That is, again, so kind. That's like a quick grocery trip. That's a full last meal. Multiple, I should say. That's a big meal. Large. Depending on where you go. Food's expensive. Trump's tariffs. But truly, like genuinely, it means a lot. Thank you so much, Holler. Coming here from your vid on the Adam Mockler Show. Excited to see more from you. Great debate so far. Thank you. Thank you. Actually, I haven't been live on YouTube doing debates in a while, but I kind of want to make this a more consistent thing. It's fun. It's very fun. Oh, and also, Jackie, you sent $6.66. Caller is stupid. I support your mission, Chris. Thank you. Thank you. You're the best. Oh, my goodness. In chat, $20. You guys are so fucking kind. Thank you, Jackie, for the $6.66. Good try to break through on that fool. You're doing good work. David, thank you so much. You guys are literally fucking incredible. I appreciate each and every one of you. Chris is a great person, Dark Sunray says. No, you, Dark Sunray. You're too kind. I love all of you. Thank you so much. You're the best. Food was expensive under Biden. Yeah, things were expensive under Biden. The difference is that I don't believe it was Joe Biden's fault. Donald Trump and inflation under Trump is directly the cause of Donald Trump. I think the inflation under Biden, there's no evidence that it was caused by Joe Biden. I am only talking to Higby. Oh boy. Higby, listen to me.
What's poppin'?
Listen, Higby. We're talking about Trump. And I have tried to get you to argue about Trump for a long time. Now that you work wherever you work. Where do you work?
I don't work anywhere. I work for myself.
You work for yourself. Now you're free to talk about whoever you want.
Wait, in terms of what?
In terms of just, well, I mean, before you were...
Oh, you're talking about when I was working for a 501c3, so I couldn't talk about politics.
Correct. Well, there's no laws anymore because of your boy, so, I mean, you probably could.
No, that's not true. But,
is Turning Point USA a 501c3?
Turning Point Action is, I think. I'm not sure. I don't work for Turning Point. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I contract for Turning Point Frontlines, but that's like a separate entity.
Okay. Anyways.
Well, I'm not. I mean, I'd like to talk about specific issues. I can't stay on that long because my girlfriend's on her way home from the airport right now, and I'm kind of doing like an early Valentine's Day thing for her. Oh. But I saw that you were live, so I thought I'd come up. I'm interested in talking about specific issues if you want to talk about like ICE, etc. I'm not terribly interested in debating that Trump is the worst president, considering it's like a subjective opinion. But
okay, well, let's talk a little bit about ICE. I'll give you 5 minutes because you have been at a lot of these events, these protests.
A lot of them.
You were in Chicago, but I missed you.
I was in Chicago. Oh, did you go to Chicago? Oh yeah. Wait.
I live in Chicago now.
Right, that's what I thought. Yeah.
So
I tried to meet up with you.
Cam, yeah, I apologize for that. But answer me this: like ICE has been not only in these predominantly blue areas, militarizing, I would describe as militarizing our cities and taking some of these actions, but also something I'm very passionate about is that ICE has consistently been violating court orders as the executive branch has been hyper expanded and they do whatever they want whenever they want. I was citing a court order actually from a judge in Minnesota this week or last week. I'm sorry, a Bush appointed judge appointed in 2006 who said that ICE is, I think the exact quote was, it was like attached to this order is an appendix of like 96 court orders.
Yeah,
ICE,
I saw your video.
yeah. ICE has likely violated more court orders this month than any agency. Some agencies have violated in their entire life.
That's not what it said. Some agencies. Yeah.
No, it said then. Okay, yeah, sure. Some agencies have violated in their entire life. Sure. But like, do you not see a constitutional issue here with the violations in the law?
Well, I mean, it depends. It depends on what court is issuing the violations, what the violations actually are, and if they're actually violations, as opposed to whether or not there's speculation that a violation occurred. I think the biggest issue that ICE is facing right now is on the ground resistance, violently specifically, which causes them to be required to deploy more troops just as support troops. So like when in Minneapolis, when ICE sends out a team to carry out an operation to deport some homicidal maniac or a pedophile, now they also need to send a support unit with them to push off protesters, because anywhere ICE operates in Minneapolis or the greater Minneapolis area, they're going to be met with resistance because they have these signal chats that coordinate on federal authorities, and they find them every time. And I know because I've used the signal chats to find them.
Ken's, that's a great point. Exactly what I was going to say. Okay, so with that, and I think like to zoom out just a little bit, like number one, again, like there's no way that if we zoom out, there's no way that the role of the federal government, or if you are the commander in chief, you're watching this happen and you're watching at some level citizens be so upset by the actions that you're taking by sending these large groups of people, ICE or National Guard or both, into these places, and you're watching how those communities are reacting. Number one, I find it hard to believe that a true leader doesn't immediately say, okay, we're clearly doing something wrong, even if we want to
Totally disagree.
hold on, even if we want to have a targeted attack of people who are committing violent crimes, we can do it in a different way because, I don't know, the citizens in these communities are upset. Instead of, again, I feel like what we're doing right now is the President of the United States is playing a role in fanning the flames as if he's not, again, supposed to be he's supposed to be the leader of the most powerful country on earth. That's number one. But number two, part of the reason those citizens are protesting and are upset is the first point I made, which is like, if we're watching ICE continue to violate the law, then people are obviously going to protest and be questioning when ICE says, oh, like recently, ICE says, and the DHS, we see Liam Ramos, and that ordeal goes super viral. A 5-year-old boy, immediately DHS is, Pam Bondi are in front of a camera, in front of the screen saying, that boy's father was undocumented and he's a piece of shit, so he ran away from Liam Ramos, and those officers stayed with the boy. And then we would find out from a judge last week that actually both of them had legal status, and he ordered their removal. So when you're seeing ICE continue to
Wait. That doesn't mean anything. Wait, so you can still deport people even if they have legal status,
Okay.
if they violated their visa, etc. There are lots of good reasons you can deport somebody who has legal status. But not only that, Chris, let's just be very clear. Just because citizens are upset about something and making resistance doesn't mean the federal government is doing something wrong. I can cite you two very notable examples.
Sure.
Of this.
I already know what you're
One
going to
is
say.
the American. What am I going to say?
You're gonna start talking about Jim Crow in the South and integrating.
No. That's not what I was. Well,
Okay.
That's another good example.
That is a good
But
example.
Hold
on.
One second. Chris.
Okay.
Chris.
Okay. I just want to point out that's not the claim I made, but continue.
I let you talk. Yeah, exactly what you said.
It's not what I said.
I want to be very clear. I let you talk.
Okay,
You don't
go
even
ahead.
know what I'm going to say.
Go ahead.
Exactly what you said was that if the people are in the streets and they're upset about this, the federal government should have introspection and realize they're doing something wrong. I'm going to cite you two very notable examples of the people being very upset about something, and they're upset for the wrong reason. The number one example is going to be the American Civil War, where the entirety of the South filed articles of secession against the United States, and the number one reason they cited was they were afraid Lincoln would take their slaves away. The federal government wasn't doing anything wrong. In fact, they were doing something right. And the next example I'm going to cite to you is January 6th. The people, the citizens of the United States, a lot of them, over 100,000, gathered around the U.S. Capitol, and a large portion of them breached the Capitol building, and they stormed the grounds. Okay? People are upset, but is the federal government doing anything wrong? No, they're transitioning power to a duly elected president. Should the federal government be changing what they're doing? No. Should the federal government be changing what they're doing now? Yeah, in my opinion, yeah, they should deploy the National Guard and go harder. Because what we're seeing in the streets right now is an active insurrection against the federal government of the United States. I have their handbooks that specifically instruct their people to create flashpoints of orchestrated chaos around federal operations wherever they find them, and they find them every single time. Flashpoints that could potentially get agents killed or get their own people killed. And I'm not speculating that. They say it in the handbook. Not only that, if Minneapolis Police Department and the Minnesota State Police were doing their jobs and preventing people from carrying out an insurrection in their state, Renee Good would be alive and Alex Preddy would be alive. They wouldn't be dead. Both of those people were a part of that organized insurrection coordinated through the signal chats.
Okay, couple points here. Number one, to the first point that you made about there being reasonable reasons if somebody has legal status to deport them. Sure, the case I referenced was not one of those cases, and it was a good example of the federal government and DHS lying to our faces. They say immediately when the Liam Ramos thing blows up that the people on the left are all about empathy. They don't care about the facts. They don't care. And Liam Ramos got left. His father ran away from him, and they're both undocumented. When we learned not only was that not the case, but they both had legal status. The claim was not that they had legal status and they were going to be deported. The claim was that they were both undocumented, so the father ran, when in reality, the father didn't run, and a federal judge ruled for their release, and now they are back together. That is a good example, I think, again, among the many others of ICE violating people's constitutional rights or the federal government overall.
You don't have a constitutional right not to be detained by federal immigration authorities when you're here on a visa.
Okay, then I'm sorry. Let me rephrase then. Number one, there's two separate things. Number one, there's examples of ICE and the federal government violating people's constitutional rights / deporting people, I think, without due process. Federal judge ruled.
In what case?
Yeah, sure. There was a 2-year-old U.S. citizen who a Trump-appointed judge said was likely deported without reasonable due process.
Deported. That child was given to the custody of their parents. Who was deported.
Yeah, of course.
Not the same thing.
Wait, no. Wait. Can I let you? Hold on. I let you speak, Cam. I let you speak. I let you speak. No, because this is important, Cam.
Then I'll shut up. Yeah, no, it is important, and I want to say this because if that child wasn't handed over to its parents when they were deported, you people would be on the internet saying that the federal government kidnapped the child when it was put into HHS custody.
No, hold on. Two things. Again, let me finish. No shit, the child was deported with one of their parents. That's not the problem.
Deported, given custody of to the parents.
Right, and deported with the parent.
Child wasn't deported.
Even though a federal judge ruled that they were, quote, deported likely with no meaningful due process.
The child was not deported. The child is a child.
Okay.
Award of
hold
its
on.
parents.
Hold on.
And its parents were deported.
And if I
the same thing.
Hold on. If I may say again, this Trump-appointed judge who, in his ruling, referred. I do want to point out he referred to the Gulf of America. He referred to the Gulf of Mexico as the Gulf of America. If this gives you an idea of the type of judge we're dealing with. You know, the child and the two parents were arrested. The judge wanted to determine, because the child was born in New Orleans, but is obviously 2 years old.
The language you're using, child wasn't arrested.
Can I finish speaking? Can I finish speaking, please?
Go ahead.
The child was born in New Orleans. The two parents were detained. The judge wanted to decide, okay, this child is going to go with either the mom or the dad, but I would like to determine which one that is. The federal government provided a note written in Spanish. And all the note said was essentially, I'm the mother, I want my daughter. And the judge was like, okay, I don't know this to be true. I haven't even had any access to the father, which we would learn later the father was trying desperately to get in contact with the court. And before the judge made any decision, DHS deported the mother, and the child was with the mother, if that's the language you would like to use. And so the judge actually said, we don't have the ruling yet. It's next month. There's a hearing for this. But a judge first ruling that the government, quote, likely deported a U.S. citizen with no reasonable due process.
The child wasn't deported. The child was given custody. The parent was given custody of their child, and the parent was deported. It's not the same thing.
Okay, well, a federal judge who is Trump appointed would disagree. Now, to go to your
I don't care if the judge is appointed. That's not what happened.
Okay, that is what happened. But before,
it's not what happened. Was there a deportation?
Hold on. Can I speak? Can I speak?
Was there a?
Can I speak?
Chris,
Can I?
answer the
No.
question. Was there a
I will
deportation
answer.
order
I
given
will.
for the
I will answer your question if I can speak first.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. I think that from a legal standpoint here, we are getting we're getting caught up in the legal definition of the term deport as opposed to what happened to the child in violation of the child's rights.
How about this? How about this, Chris? Let me ask you a question.
Hold on.
Hold up, pause.
Wait, Cam, please, please. One more thing. Again, it's important to note, I'm sorry to mute you, but I want to say one more thing. Again, it's important to note that the child, being a U.S. citizen and being 2 years old, has a specific set of rights, obviously cannot advocate for herself in this instance. And so the judge, very reasonably wanting to be meticulous and understand where the child is best suited to go. The federal government didn't care. The judge ruling, and I'm just using the judge's quote.
The child doesn't have any rights, or at least
a U.S. citizen born in the United States doesn't have any rights.
The child does not have the same set of rights as an adult American citizen.
But it is still federal law. But you would agree that it is still federal law that we cannot deport U.S. citizens.
Chris, can I speak? The government doesn't decide where you go in this case. Your parents decide.
Yeah, and that's the problem. The problem is that the judge in this case is best suited to decide which parent, because both the parents were separated, the child should go with. And as he said in his court order, the government providing this.
Is this a family court or an immigration court?
Can I finish speaking? The judge providing, the government providing this note and saying, in Spanish, this is the mother, I want my child. As he pointed out, the judge, that may be the government's opinion, but the court doesn't know that to be true. You have given this to the court, but we have no evidence that it's true, and therefore, I don't know, we'd like to talk to the mother or talk to the father. But regardless, the child is gone now, and we'll see what happens next month. It's unfortunate. Now, because I know you have to go soon, before we get caught up on this, because I think there's actually other good examples of this. I think Kilmar Abrego Garcia is one of them. But going all the way back to your original point about this, which is, in these instances that we are talking about, with judges making these rulings and giving cited examples of ICE violating court orders or the government as a whole, this was the point I was trying to make, that even if, in this case, Liam Ramos wasn't deported, but the government still looked at us and lied about his legal status, clearly for political reasons, because the DHS has been completely hyper-politicized, then obviously citizens are going to end up protesting when ICE is in their communities, especially when ICE is in their communities for political reasons, because you only send ICE and the National Guard to places like fucking Minnesota when a 23-year-old or when a 22-year-old posts a YouTube video about non-existent fraud, and it's good for you politically to go send a bunch of ICE agents there and film it. There was a huge. Of course they were there months before, but there was a huge surge of agents after the Nick Shirley video.
Yeah, why do you think? Because they started an active resistance in Minnesota and support troops were necessary.
No, it's because
I was there the whole time. I'm telling you.
After the Nick Shirley video, was there a surge of agents in Minnesota?
Yes, because there was a surge of resistance, violent resistance.
There was a surge of violent resistance because of a YouTube video? That doesn't even make any sense.
Absolutely it makes sense. People were pissed off about the video, so they took to the streets.
What? I think people were pissed off about the fact that there was a massive surge in agents. I'm denying the reason that there was a surge of people.
Chris, you're just talking over me. Are you denying the fact that there was a massive surge in violent resistance on the ground in Minneapolis following the Nick Shirley video?
I'm denying that that's the reason for whatever surge in resistance, if that's what you want to call it.
Resistance in quotation. Chris,
I'm denying.
I was almost killed repeatedly in Minnesota. For you to call it do the air quotes.
Wait, we can't hear you. Hold on, Cam. Hold on.
Can you hear me?
Hold on, Cam.
Hello.
I'm actually not even trying to interrupt you. I just can't hear you. Unless that was me. Unless that was like my mic.
Can you hear me now?
Can you guys hear him? Or did he completely get cut off?
Can you hear me now?
Wait, chat, can you guys hear him?
Hello?
Oh, you can hear him. Hold on, Cam. What the fuck?
What I was saying, I was repeatedly almost killed in Minnesota. So, can you hear me now,
Bro, my
Chris?
headphones just turned off.
It's all good. Well, I should probably go down anyway. My girlfriend's going to be home from the airport any second. Now I think we can't hear you now, Chris.
Hello? Bro, what the fuck? Hold on.
Cheryl, you don't have to believe me that I was almost killed in Minnesota. The videos are on the internet. The videos are present. I was repeatedly hunted down in Minnesota, nearly killed. I had to have armed security. I had people threatening to kill me repeatedly. I had people threatening to shoot me, saying they had guns on them. My armed security had to defend me repeatedly. Can you hear me now, Nick?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yeah, but I can also hear myself.
Yeah, because you're coming through my speakers. Hold on 1 second.
It's all good.
Oh, wait. Oh, hello? Hello?
Yeah.
Okay. I can hear you. Wait, I think we're back, Chad. I think we're back. Okay, I'm sorry. So, what were you saying?
I was just saying. I was just saying I didn't appreciate the air quotes for resistance when I was almost killed repeatedly.
Okay, then we can talk about that. I'm actually happy to talk about that. I just wanted, before we started to dive into the definition of that, I was trying to avoid that so we could just agree on or I could make my point clear that I don't believe any increase in escalation, which we can discuss what that escalation is in a second. I don't believe that was because of a video. I believe that after the video, the federal government surged agents there because, again, and this is lit. I do want to be able to zoom out here and say that the President of the United States and top law enforcement officers listening to a 22-year-old YouTuber who made a video full of just like nonsense and things that we have already previously known. And then within, 24 or 48 hours or whatever it was within the week, surging agents at place just shows like an unbelievable A, level of incompetence from these people, but B, a hyper-politicization of these branches. So I believe that it came after ICE and agents flooded there because the government wanted to hyper-politicize this, get cameras on it. It's good for Trump politically. And then people in Minnesota obviously were upset. That's my position.
Yeah. So I'll respond. It could be that more agents were sent to Minnesota for dual purpose. But I'm telling you, as a response to the video, more people came out in resistance. They were already resisting before the video, and they came out in larger numbers afterwards. We know that a primary reason for the federal government deploying more troops to Minnesota was in response to the resistance because it was a staircase. As the weeks went on and resistance got more violent and more agents got hurt, more agents were deployed. We know that to be a fact. We know that it was the publicly stated reason from the federal government. But not only that, are we pretending that the rampant Somali fraud in Minnesota is not a legitimate reason to deploy the National Guard, to deploy additional immigration officers when these people were on TPS and TPS is not in effect anymore? And many of them aren't legally in this country. I think it's absolutely a valid reason. And to pretend that I don't think you actually said that the fraud isn't happening. I think you said we know about it already. But clearly enough is not getting done about it because it's rampant. And it's not just rampant in Minnesota. It's rampant in Washington State. And what they're doing is the daycares and the other facilities are taking their payments and they're trying to hide their contributions to political campaigns to Somali candidates by doing it across state lines. So Minnesota daycares will donate and contribute politically to Somali candidates in Washington and Ohio. Washington daycares will donate to Minnesota and Ohio will donate to Minnesota and Washington. I know this because I did my own investigation in Washington and I tracked the payments. And they're receiving millions of dollars in subsidy.
So, number one, to the point about the quote Somali fraud. Yeah, I mean, obviously, and I already know what I'm going to say, which is that, obviously there was like indictments around this in 2022 or 2023 or whatever year it was, like 55 people under the Biden DOJ in Minnesota around this particular issue. It's obviously been talked about extensively on locally in Minnesota for a long time. The prosecutor who's like the main prosecutor for a lot of this fraud talked about in the past few years how the fraud is incredibly extensive, and I don't know, I forget the exact interview where like he's having trouble, it's like a big black hole and it's insane, and like he was slamming Democrat politicians like Tim Walz at the time, saying they're not doing enough. I think the idea, even if you are under the belief, which I'm not sure I am, but let's just assume I am for a second, if you're under the belief that not enough is being done about it, then that was well established in those circles, years ago by these prosecutors. I want to point out the main prosecutor resigning 2 weeks ago because the DOJ pressured him to bring charges against Renee Good's partner. He said it was inappropriate. He said, I will only do it if you open an investigation into the ICE agent who shot and executed Renee Good. The DOJ refused, so he resigned. So actually, I don't know that much is going to get done in the way of fraud because the main prosecutor who's been working on it for 10 years and slamming all the Democrats on Fox News just resigned because Trump's DOJ is hyper-politicized, but whatever.
Okay, Minnesota is rotten to its core. And if you're saying that the prosecutor, Minnesota's government is absolutely rotten to its core. And you want to know like a really good example of this is multiple times when I was on the verge of losing my life, calling 911 and the police basically telling me to go fuck myself is a pretty good indication that their government is rotten to its core. They were under a stand down order, and I know that for a fact. If the local authorities had been doing their jobs, Renee Good and Alex Preddy would be alive today. Not only that, like just to understand how pervasive this issue is. Like in Washington, in the greater Seattle area, I would go to a daycare that is receiving over $1 million a year in subsidies and ask them, hi, is this blah, blah, blah daycare? Is this Halali daycare? No, there's no daycare here. I then talk to the neighbors. I've never seen children there. It's not a daycare, but this is the publicly listed address for an organization that's receiving millions of dollars in subsidies. It's the most recent address on the inspection paperwork, blah, 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 blah. They're making political contributions to daycares in Minnesota. What the hell? What's going on here? So when you have prosecutors or a government that's unwilling to work with the prosecutors that are already not that good in Minnesota or Washington or wherever it is, and these people are on TPS and you have grounds to deport them, seems like a pretty sufficient way to deal with the issue outside of charging them with fraud. They don't go to jail, they get sent home, and you don't have to root out a giant ring of fraud.
Can I ask a question about all of that?
Sure.
If you believe then that with all of that, if I were to, with all of that, you then believe that the federal government should actually ramp up its effort. Well, I guess we just learned today that like there's been some, I don't really understand where we're at. I guess they like decreased, they like pulled the National Guard or a lot of troops at a lot of these places.
This supports my point, Chris. Why did they do that? Do you know why they did that?
Probably because like they need a political off ramp because people are pissed.
No, that's not why at all, because they're still conducting operations. I'm in the signal chats right now, and they're like pleading. The situation is the same. The reason, and this supports the claim I made earlier, that the reason they deployed more troops was because they were dealing with resistance on the ground. The reason that they have now pulled troops out of Minnesota is because the local authorities, state police and Minneapolis Police Department, are actually protecting the agents and doing their job to prevent violent resistance on the ground.
So
that's why they pulled troops out. They don't need the support units
So
anymore.
you believe that the federal government should actually be ramping these things up and sending in the National Guard to all these places and cracking down harder?
Well, to be very clear, the reason I think that National Guard should be deployed is not to carry out law enforcement action. The reason I think the National Guard should be deployed is because the National Guard under Title 10 cannot do law enforcement action in the streets of the states. They can act as a security force for federal facilities. So why is it that ICE struggles in Minnesota and had to deploy more Guard? Because simultaneously, while in the neighborhoods, ICE is meeting violent insurrection. At the Whipple Federal Building, which is their base of operations in Minnesota, they are also meeting violent resistance. They're getting their windows smashed out, their taillights kicked out, et cetera, et cetera. They need a strong front at the Whipple Federal Building, which requires agents. Who's doing it right now? FPS, the Federal Protective Service, and ICE. Okay, so if you have National Guard now to protect the building, the agents that are running security duty can now go out to the streets and resume their regular activities, and you have more manpower. I'm not saying the National Guard should be parked on every corner. I'm saying the National Guard should be stationed at the Whipple Federal Building, and the rest of the federal agents should be working in the streets.
And you don't believe that, and I'm going to ask you one more question, and then I'm going to let you go be with your girlfriend and cycle people,
Sure.
because it's 1:40 and I'm getting tired. But it actually, even though you're wrong about all this, it's good to talk to you. It's been a while.
Yeah, man.
And I just find it stunning that you believe, even with all of that said, that believe that the role of the federal government and or leadership capability, Donald J. Trump, is not to tone all of this down.
Why should it be? The thing is,
Because
like, this wasn't an issue. This wasn't an issue like less than a decade ago. Nobody complained when Obama did it. Nobody complained when Bush did it. Nobody complained when Clinton did it. Nobody complained when Bush Sr. did it. It was all okay. But now suddenly, and I'm telling you why.
That's so
that's
so
the socialists
disingenuous.
don't like you. You know the socialists don't
You
like
know
you.
that
The far lefties hate you, and I'm telling you, these people are all coordinated by far lefties. The people in charge of these group chats are literal fucking socialists.
I want to say two things. Number one,
They're the ones ramping up the
the
vitriol
first
on
point
this.
was like insanely disingenuous. There's obviously like key differences between even Obama's deportation program and how he went about that and Donald J. Trump. And I think in that, the hyper politicization, which I think is a really important piece of this, of these agencies and their unwillingness, because they're so hyper politicized, because they've been flooded with loyalists, to listen to for example, federal
It-
judges.
Chris,
But
it's only political. It's only political. First of all actions in the federal government are political, but it's only hyper politicized now because people suddenly have an issue with it. The difference is Obama didn't receive violent pushback on the ground when ICE did operations. The difference is Trump offers an off ramp for these people. Self-deport yourself. You have a pathway to come back to the United States, and we'll give you $1,000.
Strong disagree. Right. Again, like the federal government operates now in a way that is significantly different than it ever has because of Donald Trump signing things like the executive order Schedule F, hyper politicizing these three-letter agencies in a way that's never been done before. And even if you agree,
They've always been political.
No, disagree. There has always been
J6, the
no.
FBI. You don't think that was raiding Trump's house?
No,
You don't think that was political?
No, I actually don't. I think for all of modern America.
If ICE is political, raiding Trump's house was absolutely political. Raiding James O'Keefe's compound was absolutely
I disagree.
political.
I think for
Chris,
I can disagree. I will explain why.
Chris, 1 second. You can't simultaneously say that an agenda of mass deportation is more political than raiding the former
But it's actually not about the agenda. It's about how the agenda is carried out. And for all of modern American history, these three-letter agencies, at least day to day, have been largely independent from the presidency, shielded from political pressure. And Donald Trump and a bunch of the very hyper-conservative people around him, like Russ Vought, for example, have fought for 2 or 3 decades on the idea that actually the federal government should be set up in a radically different way. It should be set up, essentially, we should advocate for unitary executive theory. This is exactly what was outlined. You're going to get very mad, but let me finish. This is exactly what was outlined. The argument for unitary executive theory was outlined in Project 2025. This exact issue, the way I'm describing three-letter agencies, is something I screamed. Hold on. Oh, I just lost my camera. It's something that I screamed about. It's something that I screamed about for 6 months before the election. And right now, again, it's not about the agenda. I'm going to try to fucking fix my goddamn camera.
Nothing has fundamentally changed.
No, everything. That is so incorrect.
The guy who was running immigration operations under Obama is the same guy.
Yeah, I know, Tom Homan. Yeah, no. I want to say two things. Okay, now I'm back.
Obama pinned a medal.
I understand that that Obama pinned a medal on Tom Homan. But before I go there, I just want to say again, literally the federal government and the way it operates now, the executive branch, it's radically different in the way it operates than any other period in American history. And again, it is, and it's because Donald Trump and these people like Russ Vought running on the idea of unitary executive theory, these three-letter agencies being shielded from political pressure for, again, almost all of modern American history. It's why the DOJ, it would be inappropriate for the president to speak on ongoing investigations within the DOJ independence, as it's been called. Joe Biden asked, hey, what do you think about your son being indicted? Him saying, that's not my business, let the DOJ do what they do, right? Now, Donald Trump on his first day in office signed Schedule F, essentially gives him the ability to mass fire civil servants, replace them with loyalists. And we've seen via these executive orders, some of which I have read and made videos about, that now, again, for the first time ever, these three-letter agencies, the FBI, the CDC, the EPA, the SEC, they are required at some level when they are making big decisions to go through the White House first, to ask the White House what the White House thinks about this. And that is an expansion of executive authority, giving the president the sole ability to wield these three-letter agencies to do whatever he wants, whenever he wants. That's something we've never seen before. And it's not a giant conspiracy. It's not, hold on. No. It's not a giant conspiracy. It's something that that conservatives, that hardline conservatives around Donald Trump right now have been fighting for this moment, for the government to be set up this way for 20 and 30 years. 20 years ago, these people who believe in unitary executive theory were seen as psychopaths, and now Russ Vought has his wet dream every single day. The reason I say all this is because Donald Trump implementing these actions, and again, when we see the DHS, when we see Pam Bondi, the attorney general, even today with the Epstein files, being so hyper political, when we see Donald Trump ordering his DOJ to do things, failed indictments with people like Letitia James, James Comey, failed indictments against, now we see today, several Democrats in the House, they couldn't get a grand jury. These are unprecedented things. The Department of Justice in DC for 20 years before this administration had a failure rate of 0.5%. 0.5% of their cases got thrown out. The DOJ is shoot to kill. They win 99% of their cases nationwide. You either plea out or you're going to trial and you're cooked, okay? Right now in DC, for 20 years, their failure rate was 0.5%. The last 8 months in DC, cases filed by the DOJ, their failure rate is 23%. Why? Because everybody in the DOJ who was there left because they were being told to do things that they didn't believe they should be doing. And now the people at the DOJ, like, who are indicting Letitia James, that woman who indicted Letitia James has never prosecuted a criminal case in her life. She used to work at an insurance firm. The last 2 prosecutors said there wasn't enough evidence. They were pushed out. They resigned. All of these things and the way that the president is able to direct these people to do these things is unprecedented. And therefore, Barack Obama deporting people and saying, hey, this is my goal. Focus within 100 miles of the border. We're not going to focus on families. We're going to focus on criminals. And trying to get a group of people not hyper-politicized to execute that. Hold on.
U.S. Code 1325 improper
Violent.
All criminals.
Fantastic. Violent criminals. Barack Obama trying to do that with a group of non-hyper-political people is significantly...
The people who have families who have families in the middle of the country are no less guilty than the people who just crossed the border.
They might be no less guilty, but...
And why is Trump not doing that on the border? Because he's closed the border down. There's a 97% reduction in crossings. Well, no gotaways.
Which I think is bad, by the way. I think the border... Yeah, I think the border being... Obviously, I don't support people like crossing the border illegally. I think the border being completely shut down is not good.
It's not completely shut down. People are still crossing the border.
Yeah, obviously at like a significantly lower rate. And part of... Yes, part of what we're talking about...
Definitely not. Have you been to Texas? They still cross the border every day.
Yeah, but of course people cross the border, but the legal immigration that we've seen from both Canada and Mexico has gone down quite a bit. Just tourism in the United States overall is down, which I think is a massive problem. And obviously the ability to get into the United States legally is harder now, is more strict at least some level. And what I would support is like a massive immigration reform. Joe Biden supported the strictest border bill of all time. Donald Trump killed that bill, whatever. If Donald Trump actually cared about this issue, he wouldn't executive order shut down the border. He would have, used the fact that he has the House and the Senate and the presidency to sign massive border immigration. But that's not helpful to him, border reform, but that's not helpful to him politically. It's why he's signed less legislation than any administration up to this point in 70 years. Okay, before you give a closer, I promise I'm going to shut up because I've been talking for literally 5 minutes straight. My last point is this. It is significantly different the way that these things are carried out and executed, and the ability for the federal government to ignore judges under Donald Trump than any other time, and that's why I think it's different. Go ahead.
Yeah, I fundamentally disagree with you. The 3-letter agencies in the government have always carried out the agenda of the president. On top of that,
not what I said.
Well, you said that they.
I'm going to let you close. I'm just not going to say anything. I'm going to let you close.
Let me close.
Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, I actually think that the president has shown incredible restraint with the amount of power he's used, to the degree of actually like extremely pissing me off personally. Trump had every reason to deploy the Insurrection Act for Minnesota. He had every grounds to do it. He's also had every grounds to use Title 10, 12406 and deploy the National Guard. There's only 3 requirements for that. A, you can't enforce federal law with regular troops. B, there's a rebellion. And then the last one is something irrelevant to do with foreigners. I can't remember. But anyway, Title 10, 12406, Trump has had absolute reason to use it and hasn't, to the point of actually like pissing me off because it's been dangerous in the streets. People have been physically hunting me down. Not just me, lots of other people. Nick Sorter was repeatedly attacked brutally. So like the idea that Trump is just like trying to flail as much power physically possible is just absurd. He's had every reason to deploy the Insurrection Act and just start arresting people with the military in the streets and hasn't. Anyway, that's my closer. It was good talking to you, Chris.
Cam, it was good talking to you. I'll let you go. We'll talk again soon. Have a good time with Valentine's Day with your girlfriend, all right, man?
I'll come in if you're alive.
All right, man. All right, man. Sounds good.
Bye.
Peace. Oh my God. I couldn't keep all the points straight in my head, dude. I'm getting tired. It's 2 a.m. Jesus. Man, Cam. Come on, man. Come on. Come on. Timberly, thank you so much for $20 on PayPal. I appreciate you so much. $20 is literally insane. Brittany, I'm going to read that in a second. That's really funny. $20, Timberly, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. That is literally so kind. I never take that for granted. Sorry. I know people in the chat right now, and don't worry, I notice this, are like, you should have been harder on him or these things. This is, and again, I don't know. I feel like, okay, I fucking lost my camera again. I feel like TikTok live debates these days, just social media in general, especially the political space, could use, I don't know, a bit more goddamn authenticity. And there is a point in the night I try relentlessly to fucking, as the night wears on, I start to get more, my brain starts to get like more and more like I have less ability to fight back against every claim. And I also am like a human being and I get tired. And so I've talked to Cam before. I've met Cam in person a long time ago, arguably when he was less insane. No offense, Cam. But I just like have less and less ability to like scream and yell. Yeah, I'm just, it's kind of like when I debated Michael Knowles on Bar Fight. He does this like YouTube show. It was actually pretty fun. Harry Sisson and I debated Michael Knowles in like a, bro, you know I'm not insane. Michael Knowles in a bar full of a bunch of MAGA. Like it was an hour and a half straight of like yelling and trying to debate Michael Knowles. And like the last 20 minutes, I burned. Like I burned out. I couldn't. My brain just like can't do the same. Even though that might not be really noticeable on video, but in my head, I was just like, oh my God, I don't have, like, I'm listening to things, but they're not garnering the same, like, emotional reaction as they normally do, or the same reaction. But thank you so much, Kimberly, for $20 on PayPal. I never, ever. The guests were crazy, Megan says. Thank you for watching the whole thing. They were crazy. Thank you so much for $20. From the bottom of my heart, truly, I never take it for granted. It means the world. I just put a spell on Phil. He will wake up tomorrow as a sea turtle, LOL. Timberly, that makes both of us. I also did the same. I wasn't going to say anything, but I hope that's not PEMDAS. Will that cancel out? If I did the sea turtle spell and you did the sea turtle spell, maybe it'll turn into an XL sea turtle, extra large. W. Kimberly, I actually appreciate you so fucking much. Thank you. Matt, thank you so much for $10 on Venmo. You are literally the best. We doing this or what, bro? Bro, is this man here? Oh, he is here. Okay, we could talk to the guy in his pit about. I know he wants to. Rebecca, good to see you. I know he wants to talk about mental health stuff. Guy in his pit is a dog. He's a dog. I actually love that dude. I'm sorry, Matt. And another $5. Come on, Bubs. Don't hide from me, man. We'll have a good talk. Matt, $15 is actually insane. Thank you. Thank you so much. Bro, why is Cam requesting again? Yeah. Yo, can we get a million W's in the chat for guy in his pit? You're literally the best. Allison, thank you so much for $20 on Venmo. Can we get a million W's in the chat for Allison? Thought it was the other guy. Can we get a million W's in the chat for Allison? I actually appreciate you so much. So much. You're very kind. Truly, I don't ever take that for granted. Ever. Thank you for all the donations. Wow. Valentine's Day is Saturday. I cooked up quite the event here for my lovely girlfriend, and I realize it's Thursday, and like I'm prepared. But there's some moving pieces to my event, and I need to moving piece event it correctly. I'm just speaking out loud now because I saw a comment about Valentine's Day. Leftists need to wake up fast. You're destroying all of our countries. All of our countries? We're destroying all of your countries? You live in multiple countries? Best hair. Someone says this in some, I can't, that username is long, but it starts with this. $5 on YouTube, best hair. You're the best. I love you so much. Thank you. It's actually insane right now. But thank you so much. I love you and appreciate you. You're literally amazing. I never take that for granted. Thank you. And another $5 from Dark Sunray. They just choose when they want to be right, which isn't based in evidence, is based in feeling. At least they're willing to talk. Thank you again. Yo, Dark Sunray, thank you. If you had a million W's for the chat for Dark Sunray, I appreciate that a lot. Seriously, the love. And you're not wrong. You're definitely not wrong. Holy shit. All right. Guy in his pit. This guy has been graciously waiting. I'm not sure how long I've got in me, how much time I've got in me. But this guy right here, he's been so kind. I just accepted him. Where is he? My camera's out of sync. Hello? There we go. Hello? Bro, what? There. Guy and his guest might not be here. L. He left. Damn it. Wow. When I find... Oh, he says he is here. Hello? Oh, there he is. My guy. This guy right here. Donating. Are you okay?
My bad. Oh, fuck.
No, you're...
I took a sip of my drink and I fucking... Yeah.
Don't. That's,
bad timing.
That's
Bad timing, man.
Shitter Sanders, perfect timing. I just can't had to check the blink.
Fucking 3 o'clock here, man. Fucking...
I'm sorry.
Nah, you're good,
dude,
man.
you have been showing so much love, so much support. I actually appreciate it. I'm sorry it's been like multiple days. Talk to me though, man. What's going on?
I mean, dude, it's... we talked a while back, and my big thing is I'm not a political person, right? Like, that's never been my thing. I got into politics here. Hold on, because I don't like doing this whole hiding behind a fucking whatever screen. I like, put my face on the screen so people... I also like to vape, so I might have to turn it off, for a second so you don't get violated or whatever. But, it's just, I do support Trump, right? And I got my reasons for that. And my reasons are more than just what's seen on TV, what's put out there. It's based on... So I live in the DMV, right? My sister's neurosurgeon was Ben Carson.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I remember this.
The only reason why she's still alive. When I was, 10, 12, 13 years old, and I was a little shithead.
Fee, good to see you.
Not doing anything in school because I didn't like school. I got sat down by him, and he fucking talked me into, school's important and all that kind of stuff. He got invited to the National Prayer Breakfast by Obama, and he kind of like low-key fried Obama in that process because, like, he was a Republican. And I don't know why they invited him, and he kind of, said his little piece. And he got pushed into politics after that, and he was going to retire as a neurosurgeon, as the chief neurosurgeon or whatever the title is at Johns Hopkins. And he came to my sister and he said, "Emily, I'm retiring." And she said, "The fuck you are? You're not." She's like, I got 3 years left in this unit. He was a pediatric, neurosurgeon. I got 3 years left. You ain't going nowhere until that time's done. And he did. And if you look back on the history of him after the National Prayer Breakfast and when he got into politics, he did. I think he left like a year earlier, but she was doing well. And like I said, never really got big into politics. But, when somebody that you grew up with, somebody that you knew personally was running for a president, you kind of pay attention a little bit. And then Trump got elected, and I was like, this is going to be either a disaster or it's going to be a fucking comedy show. Because, when he first got elected, everybody was kind of just like, he's not a politician. He's, the apprentice guy, he's, it's not like, it was hard to believe that he would actually do anything good. And I'm not one of those people that sits here and says that he's perfect or that he's great or that he doesn't have any skeletons hidden in his closet. But the one thing that I think, for one, myself, I think a majority of the population has noticed is so many things are said about him that are consistently proven to be not true. And it's just hard to get behind all that stuff. It's like, why are we all like, I'm all for like bringing, like, I want things to, I want to bring people together, man. Like, I don't want all the bullshit. I don't want all the arguments. It seems like there's been a divide in the country ever since he came along. I don't think it's a coincidence that it's because at the same time you got some non-politician dude that comes into place where all this stuff starts coming about. It's like, I mean, and being a business owner, we had we did well in his first term. Things went downhill during Biden's term. This term again, I mean, just looking at gas prices, man, like you can't deny gas is going down. Like, there's little things that play into it where it's like, I mean,
Oh, wait, are you still here?
no, I'm still here.
Oh, my bad, yo. I thought, yo, my bad. I was looking down on the right. It's just like so small. I thought he was frozen. My bad. Yeah. So a couple things here. First of all, a guy in his pit here he's been very supportive to Chad. He's sent some Venmos. He's a good guy. He's in the chat. He might be a Trump supporter, but listen, you didn't hear me say this. We've got some leeway here, Chad. Just trust me. Watch this. Well, look, a couple things. I think it's also possible simultaneously that although you say, look, I want to bring people together, but I mean, I would like to ask like what the provably false things are about that have been said about Trump so often. But before I go there, like I actually look at it from like a different angle. You say I don't think it's a coincidence that Trump comes in, he's not a politician, and then all these things start and things get so divided. And instead of believing that it's because Trump is doing something, let's say, good or kind of rooting out the deep state, let's say, I'm just making examples. I believe it's because Donald Trump is like when he got in office, I mean, he's not a politician. He's never been in government. So he's probably going to be like just even if you love him on the government point, but like on just the how to run the government, he's probably not going to do a great job because he's never done it. And certainly being a TV, like a TV host, he's going to be very, let's say, significantly less professional than most politicians, which is going to, I think, understandably for a lot of people.
Yes, that's arguable though. I mean, because the reality is like, you look at a lot of the politicians, like what is their background? What do they really have to offer?
Well, I mean, a lot of people.
It's been proven that like a lot of, I mean, like Republicans and Democrats. I'm not even going to say one side or the other, but we can both agree there are plenty of politicians out there who are absolute effing morons.
Sure,
I mean, I work with a lot of politicians. I've had the pleasure. I don't even want to say the pleasure. I've had the opportunity to meet a lot of them. I do a lot of work with a lot of them, and I'm not saying I'm the smartest guy in the world, but I think I got some brain cells, and I've just seen. I don't really think all of them are. It's more of a who you know and who knows you type of deal. Living in this area, you kind of like know how that game works a little bit. Like personally, like what I think, I would love to see. So you got like big CEOs, right, and make a ton of money. I would love to see the president get paid a substantial amount of money.
Well, I mean, Donald Trump has tripled his net worth.
Yeah, well, he's probably been the one president who's lost money throughout all this. I mean, if you look at the numbers, I mean, I haven't checked into it recently. But
I would definitely check into it recently because right now, I mean, that dude has literally made like $1.5 billion in a year because he's like selling cryptocurrencies and selling shoes and selling Bibles and selling phones.
Most of the stuff that he's doing, I mean, most of his business, I mean, is being ran by his daughter. I mean, he's not really involved in like that day-to-day business. But I mean, like, I mean, here's my thing on Trump, because like, I mean, here's the thing, like, I don't know him personally. You don't know him personally. None of us really know him personally, right? So like, it's hard to really say to be exact. But give me a sec. So you got this. My theory on him is...
Someone said $3 to $4 billion. That's probably true. I don't know the exact... It's billions, though, this year, yes.
but he had more before. I got a whole laundry list of notes. I can pull up, but it's hard to do it in like real, like live conversation. But my thing is, he's either so narcissistic that he wants to be the best president and will do everything that he can to be the best president, or he genuinely wants to, do something. I mean, if you look at it, like the guy had a pretty cush life, right?
Right. Well, here's
So then why would he jump into this arena?
Sure.
To get shit on for the last? I mean, not only shit on, to have his life threatened, multiple assassination attempts. Why would he keep doing
Sure.
that when he could just be chilling, playing golf every day? I love golf.
I actually think that's a good question. I can answer it. Well, first of all, I want to point out, like, again, yeah, some of the things, like, from Donald Trump specifically, like, he's made an exorbitant, I can speak so big. He's made a lot of money off his cryptocurrencies. Trump coin is down like 99% year to date. Melania coin is down 99% year to date. These are events that he held actually White House dinners for. The top 25, or I'm sorry, the top 220 investors by dollar amount got to come to the White House and have dinner with Donald Trump. And actually the top investor in that cryptocurrency by dollar amount got to, what? No. Bro. Guy in his pit, you got a violation, my guy. You got a violation. Guy in his pit, what did you do? I don't know. It just said his live might have themes that are not suitable. It just said that Guy in his pit might have themes in his live that are not suitable for viewers. For misinformation. No, it could have been. Well, listen, hold on, Guy in his pit, hold on. But let me just finish this thought really quick before I lose it. Yeah, so like, again, we've seen Donald Trump sell cryptocurrencies, his cryptocurrency. The Trump organization makes money off every trade, the trading fees. Again, both coins down literally 99%. People have like lost their life savings in this because if they poured their life savings, it's gone. But also like, top investors got to go to the White House. We literally learned in the last 2 weeks. What did we learn? We literally learned in the last 2 weeks that there was at least one foreign investment of like $500 million from I think somewhere in Saudi Arabia. I'd have to go recheck this. But obviously like a potential major conflict of interest where he as a human being is personally benefiting from his cryptocurrency and he's selling essentially power. He's selling like the ability to, it's not power, just go to the White House. The number one investor of his cryptocurrency was a Chinese national by the name of Justin Sun, who the SEC actually filed a lawsuit against for fraud in 2023, along with, it was Justin Sun, Jake Paul, like a bunch of other people, because he's like defrauded a bunch of people. The SEC's case was super, super strong. All of a sudden, Justin Sun pours I think the numbers, and take this with a grain of salt, but it was between $30 and $40 million into Trump coin. He was the number one investor by dollar amount. And he also spent $75 million investing in World Liberty Financial, which directly partners with the Trump organization. And those two together in a direct partnership, they do stuff in the cryptocurrency world. And then all of a sudden, his lawsuit at the SEC was dropped. So that's a great example. Donald Trump literally selling, "Hey, I will drop I will drop this," in for a bunch of money. And the SEC, people anonymously, the SEC saying it was pretty stunning to watch it drop. They gave no official reason besides we are going to reassess our previous charges, and we'll get back to you. And they never did. That, along with him selling a phone, which he personally, you say, he's not in day-to-day businesses. He ran commercials with the phones. He ran commercials with the Bibles. He ran commercials with the shoes. The phones just started shipping out, even though they sold they've been selling these for a year. They just started shipping out right now. The Bibles were a mess. The watches, the shoes. I mean, his net worth has literally increased. Someone said $3 to $4 billion. I don't even know what the billions is. He's tripled his net worth. It's actually unbelievable. And it's because the corruption for the first time in American history, I'd argue, is so out in the open. It is unbelievable. He sells pardons to the highest bidder. He essentially uses the White House to sell goods. I mean, even Kai Trump, his granddaughter, 18 years old, has a clothing brand, and she's taking pictures of the clothing on the White House lawn. I think in normal times in American history, that would be the most massive scandal for a White House maybe ever. Or it's not ever. Sorry, that was me being really hyperbolic. Certainly not ever. But it'd be a huge scandal in normal times. Kai Trump, the granddaughter of the president, taking photos on the White House lawn for her personal clothing brand. Whoa, that's a major conflict of interest. Because it is. But it doesn't. No one even fucking knew that. I only know that because I fucking make videos about this all day long. It's literally insane how rich he's gotten. And so to answer a guy in the pit's question really quickly, last one. Someone saying $10 billion lawsuit, also great example. He filed a $10 billion lawsuit or whatever it is. I think this is what you're referencing. I'm really fucking tired. But he filed a lawsuit. Maybe it was was it $10 billion? Yeah, actually, it was $10 billion against his own government for raiding Mar-a-Lago. And again, the CBS News person who did the interview asking a reasonable question, some people are concerned, like, the people looking in to this lawsuit, should we give Donald Trump $10 billion for wrongdoing, are his former personal lawyers. You're about to our tax money is about to literally go to Donald Trump. And he's like, oh, I'm going to give it to charity. Fucking bullshit. He'll get his $10 billion and forget about it. It is unprecedented. It is insane. And to answer the question that guy in the pit asked, why would Donald Trump give up his comfy life before 2016? He's 79 now, I think. And 10 years ago, he's 69. Super hilarious number, by the way. He's 70. Why would you give up your life? Right? He can play golf every day. He's super rich. He has assets, whatever. He can do whatever he wants because that's not what Donald Trump cares about. And this is why we study. I would argue a really great example of this is why we study criminal psychology. Right? I'm not trying to suggest in this instance that Donald Trump committed a crime, but when we look at, for example, criminal psychology, we want to understand why people commit crimes because people may commit the same crime for different reasons. Right? For example, the largest Ponzi scheme in history, Bernie Madoff. Bernie Madoff famously said something to the effect of, wrote down or something, I can't remember where, but essentially said he could have stopped 20 years. He could, when he started, and this had been going on for a long time, he was like, I could have been done. I had all the money in the world. I could have lived the rest of my life retired, but it wasn't about the money for Bernie Madoff. He would continue it for another 20 years, get caught, go to prison. Why? Because it was never about the money. It was about this like rush of being able to like scam super rich people or, just, I don't know, the adrenaline around that. Fucking Ted Bundy did some really awful things. I don't think any of us, I'd really pray that none of us could understand fundamentally why Ted Bundy did any of the things he did, right? We try to understand criminal psychology similarly to not everybody wants the same things in life. I don't believe Donald Trump at 70 years old wanted, his main concern wasn't living life. And it's also, I don't actually fundamentally believe necessarily that his main concern is always money. I think he really cares about money, but I think he cares most about power. Number two is money, but he would be willing in a scenario, I believe, based on what I understand about him, watching him all the time, is that at some level he'd be willing to give up some amount of money for power. He's obsessed with power. And so if you want power, and you have a life of playing golf all day, you might not be satisfied. You might say, I'm going to run for president because I'm a narcissist. I want power. I crave power. I want to flex the authoritarian wings. And then at some level, he cares about money and enriching his friends. Sure. But like all of us would feel, if all of us were transported right now onto a golf course with unlimited money, we would all have different emotions around that if you were told you can live the rest of your life just doing this every single day. Some of us would be ecstatic. Others would say, this is not what I want from life. I don't give a fuck about money or golf. I want to go, work for a charity or travel or fucking, I don't know what. So everybody does things for different reasons. So I don't think it's a good argument to say that Donald Trump could have just lived his life and just decided to do this to save the United States. Because that's just not how human beings work. That's my long rant. Guy in the pit, are you going to come up? Will it give you another violation?
Well, just leave the camera off, man. It doesn't sound like that was the reason why. I mean,
maybe it was camera off. Okay, but a couple more minutes up here before I literally pass. Oh wait, before I literally fall asleep on the TikTok live. Go ahead.
Yeah, man, I feel where we left off. I mean, here's the thing. It's just like I said, I wasn't a big believer in the guy from the start, but I've had reasons to kind of become one. And I think the majority of the population feels the same exact way. And I think that's why he had results. He had an election. I mean, then you look at the states that Kamala won. I mean, the only states she won were states where there was voter ID. You know, which I mean, that's debatable. I can't prove that. So I'm not even going to like dive deep into that or like make a big thing about that. But the dude's done something. Forget his personality. Forget how he is as a person. He's done a lot more than Biden did.
Like what?
Ended multiple wars. I mean, he's got like a presence where he takes care of stuff.
What wars did he end?
The Venezuela thing, people want to like, have a little whatever about it. It's the people here in America that want to like be protested and whatever. Then I have, friends who are, from Venezuela and they are parading in the streets over it, And I will say this. I think there was a incentive for him going to do that outside of freeing the people, right? Like it wasn't like I think part of it was helping the people, but he had the added bonus of the oil, the natural minerals, which is kind of why he's going out to Greenland because they got fucking natural minerals, which.
Sorry, wait. I don't mean to cut you off. Your mic's like a little like muted or muffled there. I don't know if it's maybe laying on something or you're probably laying on.
Yeah, I had it set up sitting somewhere, but
okay.
But yeah, I mean.
So before I actually, I have a lot of potential answers to that, but actually, before I do, I want to ask you about something. Before again, I literally fall asleep because somebody in the comments said it, and I want to know your thoughts. Epstein files.
I mean, I haven't seen. Everyone talks about that, but there's been nothing that's came out to actually implicate him. I mean, when you look back on it, and even like the mainstream media who hated on him forever has started to actually say the same thing. He kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago and banned him from it a long, long time ago.
Well, we would learn. We would learn today.
And here's the thing. If something comes out where it is complete proof of him doing something like that, then my opinion changes completely.
Okay. Well,
but I have yet to see that, and I have yet to see anybody produce that.
Okay. Well, a couple things. Like, obviously, I think like just the setup of the Department of Justice and their lead up to this was like, Donald Trump said he was going to release the files. Pam Bondi said, "I have the files on." Hold on. Pam Bondi said, "Hold on." Pam Bondi said, "I have the files on my desk." Then all of a sudden, Trump says the files are a hoax. They're not real. Pam Bondi, I guess, never had the files on her desk. People need to stop talking about it. This goes on for months and months. And then he's forced, because Congress signs a law, the DOJ is forced to release all these files, which that's a really long time for somebody said he was going to release them on day one. And literally his like first 2 weeks in office, Pam Bondi said, or first month, I don't know exactly when, but right when he got in office, Pam Bondi said, "I have the files on my desk." And then we wait months and the files disappear and nobody wants to talk about it anymore. That's pretty suspect. He's forced He's forced to release the files via Congress. And then the DOJ is actively breaking the law still breaking the law, but they're forced to release all the files and explain their redactions in front of Congress. They wait, 3+ weeks to do that. They then just now give us another 3 million documents. We know there's millions of more documents. And in those documents, we learned literally in the last 2 days that based on members of Congress who have been briefed on this, they actually have access in Congress to these unredacted files, that right now Donald Trump's name is mentioned over 1 million times. 1 million times in the Epstein files, redacted an immense amount of times, which is a violation of the law.
1 million, that's a fraudulent number. I'm gonna have to call you out on that.
Okay. Well, that's just what Jared Moskowitz said. Hold on, really quickly. I'm gonna let you speak. Jared Moskowitz said that 1 million times, that it's been redacted. We learned that of several new very powerful people and billionaires who were redacted. We learned of their names today. Again, why is the DOJ, who was forced to unredact all these things, explain, or the things they're only supposed to redact victims' names, they're redacting names of people who were clearly committing some really, really heinous, atrocious events. We also learned, speaking of the Mar-a-Lago thing, we learned today that there's a set of files that are currently redacted by the DOJ that show that there's at least some reporting, according to the files, that Donald Trump never kicked Jeffrey Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago, that Donald Trump that Jeffrey Epstein was never a member, but he was never asked to leave. And furthermore, we got an unredacted document that was kind of discovered, because there's so many documents, 2 days ago, that is somebody being interviewed by like the FBI that claims that Donald Trump actually called the police in 2006 when Jeffrey Epstein was first being essentially accused, and said something to the effect of, "Thank God you're like arresting him," or something like that. "Thank God you're looking into this," I think it was. Ghislaine Maxwell's the one you need to go after. The problem with that document is that would directly contradict Donald Trump's own story about Jeffrey Epstein, because if that is true, after 2006, Donald Trump would continue to party with Jeffrey Epstein publicly, and Donald Trump told us publicly that he never was aware and was not made aware of any of this until Jeffrey Epstein essentially like was in prison in 2019. So those documents, several of the documents I just outlined, contradict what Donald Trump said, and furthermore, this Wall Street Journal article, I would argue that we have a host of documents suggesting that Donald Trump was sending young girls to Jeffrey Epstein to get massages at Mar-a-Lago that can be essentially verified by multiple people. I think at the bare minimum, it is absolutely undeniable that Donald Trump knew what Jeffrey Epstein was doing and helped Jeffrey Epstein engage in said action. That's bare minimum. I think for most people living in reality, he was definitely sleeping with underage people, but I just think like there's never been more guilty. It's part of why this is his worst polling issue. I think underwater handling of the Epstein files, Donald Trump is like minus 41.
You have no actual proof of all that. It's all hearsay and all bullshit. I mean, so if you want to look back into the actual facts, so in 2003, there was an incident with the 18-year-old Mar-a-Lago spa worker who Epstein was having come to his house to, have little house calls. And then it was reported that something was not good going on. I'll use those words because I don't want to get another little ban from TikTok. But that was what, played a big part in him banning him from Mar-a-Lago, and then, there was also in 2006 a phone call to the police where he called them and talked to them, stating, basically, thank goodness for stopping him. He is, everyone's known what he's been doing, and has been on public record for that.
Wait, so then why, if that phone call, wait, if that
nobody, no one's able to present any actual factual evidence.
Wait, if that
showing all this stuff.
If that phone call happened, then why did Donald Trump continue to party with Jeffrey Epstein after that?
First off, Donald Trump isn't a partier. The dude doesn't even drink. He's not a party kind
Okay, but obviously
guy.
he throws a lot of parties in Mar-a-Lago, and like he was seen multiple times with Jeffrey Epstein.
I'm sure he probably has events. And there was a time.
Okay, so why was Jeffrey Epstein involved in any given event with Donald Trump after the phone call you're claiming?
Because at the time, Jeffrey Epstein was located in that area, and he was a part of, he did accompany, Mar-a-Lago until he was banned from there. And then after that, there was no existence of that, and he was banned from there for doing things, for one, basically being a sexual predator. And also being a fucking racist.
Okay. What about the birthday note?
I'm not familiar with that.
The handwritten birthday letter that Donald Trump wrote to Jeffrey Epstein, where he said, like, discussing like his love for women and saying that, you have a secret that can't be told.
They're very vague. I mean, I
can read. It's very vague. It just happens to go to the world. The most prominent. I can't say that word, of our lifetime. Hold on a second. Also, I want to point out that Donald Trump met his current wife on. The files also show that Donald Trump very clearly met Melania Trump on Epstein's plane, which is another conversation to have. This is the note. This is the birthday note that Donald Trump sent to Jeffrey Epstein. There must be. It's drawn here on a woman's body, which is fucking gross. There must be more to life. Quote. Hold on. There must be more to life than having everything. Donald, Yes, it's essentially, it's as if him and Jeffrey Epstein are going back and forth. It's a voiceover. Donald, yes, there is, but I won't tell you what it is. Jeffrey, nor shall I, since I know what it is. Donald, we have certain things in common, Jeffrey. Jeffrey, yes, we do, come to think of it. Donald, enigmas never age. Have you noticed that? Jeffrey, as a matter of fact, it was clear to me the first time I saw you. Donald, a pal's a wonderful thing. Happy birthday, and may every day be another wonderful secret. Signed, Donald J. Trump.
Give me a second. I'm looking into it. I mean, when it comes down to it, I mean, all this stuff, that's your thing. You live, eat, and breathe it. And I've got respect for it. I mean, I don't necessarily agree with like your side of it, but like, here's the thing. I mean, it's just like, when it comes down to it, it's like I hear and I see all this stuff. And then I do my own investigation. I look into things, and it just seems to be that time and time again, every time I look into it, or as things come about, it's disproved. And I've talked to a lot of people, and I think a lot of people have taken note of that. And it's just like, and I'm not saying that the guy's a saint. I'm not saying that he's perfect. I'm not saying there's not skeletons in the closet, but I'm just saying that there are so many things that are said that turn out to be inaccurate that it's just hard to believe anything anymore, And do I wish we had somebody that was a different president that could do good things? Sure, great, yeah. But you can't discount what he's done. I mean, gas prices are down substantially. Things are good. Prices going down. Business is better in both terms that he's been involved in. As a business owner, I mean, I've seen it. I've dealt with it. And then it comes down to really what it comes down to is I got personal relationships with people that I trust wholeheartedly that have said good things. And, if it was based on my own opinion, I'd be less argumentative about it. But when it's coming from people that I have the utmost respect for, people that I know just wouldn't say shit just to say shit for political power or for just whatever clout or whatever you want to call it, it's hard to buy it. I mean, nothing really went too well with fucking Biden. I mean, Kamala, I mean, you don't, I'm not going to force you to admit it live on air, but like, I mean, come on, dude. I mean, we both, she wasn't cut out for it. Her having to deal with Putin, her having to deal with all these other people, it would have not held the same power and the same respect.
I'm pretty. The one thing I take the most pride in all my content is that, whether it's making videos or lives, that I'm very authentic and I say how I feel. And I certainly believe wholeheartedly that Kamala Harris was cut out to be president of the United States. She was more than qualified. She was. Hold on.
What did she do as a vice president other than what?
Sure.
Other than let everybody and their mother across the border. And like, let me say one thing real quick. So like, growing up, I worked in the restaurant industry. I have a ton of friends, people that I care deeply about, that are great people who are here illegally. I know the struggles and the horrible things that happen to them while crossing the border. And that's one thing. But when you let everybody and their mother across the border, it becomes a situation where there are people here that want to harm this country. There is video documentation of people standing in line waiting to cross the border illegally that were let in that said those exact things. And even though there's a lot of great people that are here illegally that I would love to keep here, right? There is a lot of shitty people here that want to do horrible things. And I don't love the whole ICE thing. I don't love how everything's going down. But you know what? Thousands of kids, thousands of women have been saved in that process. And even though a lot of great people were torn from this country and sent back to less ideal situations, saving kids and saving women, even if it's only 1,000 or two, it's worth it in my opinion.
Okay.
You know.
So a couple things here. So number one, I wholeheartedly believe Kamala Harris was, quote, cut out for the job. She's very qualified to be president of the United States and is far, 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 far more cut out for all of these things than Donald Trump. To answer your question about what she did as vice president, sure, I think one of the things I like most is that the Biden-Harris administration passed the first gun reform in the past 3 decades. It's now been ripped apart, but Kamala Harris got to head the first ever Office of Gun Violence Prevention at the White House. She assembled a team and used federal funding to go around the country and try to teach people how to store firearms safely. Most firearm deaths in this country are caused by accidents, people getting a firearm and a child opening a drawer and something horrific happening. So she led that office. She also assembled like a FEMA-type task force to go around and try to deal differently with mass casualty events with firearms because the government needs different resources to handle that as opposed to, just regular police agencies that might respond to these things. That's one example of something Kamala Harris did as vice president of the United States. I also think that the Biden-Harris administration was the most productive. They passed more fiscal legislation than any administration in the last 7 decades. And this is something that's not popular to talk about, but it's also something that I wholeheartedly believe in, which is, they were unbelievably productive. And they showed for the first time, whether you hate it or love it, the first time in a long time, that you can get things done, can get things passed through Congress if you have a person and leadership in Harris and Biden that actually know how to get things done. The largest infrastructure bill since Eisenhower. Donald Trump couldn't achieve that in his first term. A massive expansion of health care for veterans, the PACT Act. Trump did get that done through his first term. A CHIPS Act, $280 billion. Hold on. Please let me finish. $280 billion in the CHIPS Act to, invest in manufacturing. $1.7 trillion in American Rescue Plan. That was the largest investment in public education, I think, in American history, if I remember correctly. Regardless of all these things, not only did she do things as vice president, not only, I think, did the administration show that they could pass large swaths of fiscal legislation, unlike Donald Trump, who up to this point has passed less fiscal legislation than any administration. He's signed less legislation into law up to this point than any administration in modern American history right now. But that's a different issue. But also, Harris, previous to her being vice president, was incredibly accomplished. She was obviously, she's a lawyer. She graduated law school, was a DA and attorney general, served as, hold on. Please let me finish. No, I know I've been going for a while because you asked me a question that I think is important.
I like back and forth.
I know, I'm going to let you speak. Yeah, but she was also a senator and then vice president of the United States. So she's more than qualified, more than cut out. And I think that, I would take Kamala Harris. In any state. I would take Kamala Harris, off 48 hours no sleep talking to Vladimir Putin over Donald Trump, who's selling our secrets to Vladimir Putin. And I swear to God, hold on, let me finish, please. I swear to God, I mean that wholeheartedly. She is more than qualified to be president of the United States and should be president of the United States right now. And to the second point, I don't even fucking remember what you said after that, honestly. Something about, I think, undocumented people, don't commit more violent crimes than U.S. citizens. I think there's evidence recently that they're actually a pretty big fiscal positive for us. I think there should be actual immigration reform, some of which, I think if we had to compromise on people to the left, no one would be happy is what I'm trying to say. But it should now it's impossible because nobody trusts the federal government because they're it's broken. But, Biden Harris supported the largest reform to our border in American history. The bill just didn't pass.
So first of all, I never said anything about I forget exactly how you phrased it, but when it comes to people coming into this country illegally or coming into this country seeking asylum, I've got a lot of close relationships with people that have came here this way. I got a lot of love for them. But the fact of the matter is, under that administration, it was not what it was in the past where people were coming here to seek asylum. It was people that were coming here in the busloads, through airplanes, through fucking whatever. It was a massive
Yeah, but
You
I don't
know,
think that was
a lot
anything
of
that
people.
Biden or Harris did to cause that.
Then who allowed it? I mean, it was somebody.
Nobody allowed it. It was, I think, mostly because of a massive pandemic that caused a giant surge of migration, and there wasn't enough resources at the border, and and an immigration system that's been broken for 30 years that started to buckle.
There's not enough resources at the border. The border
Yes.
czar, who was
Kamala Harris was not the
Kamala
border
Harris,
czar. Kamala Harris was not the border czar. That's not true. Kamala Harris, the only thing that
that
no,
was
no, 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 no. The only thing that Kamala Harris was in charge of in relation to immigration was focusing on three countries. I don't even remember the countries off the top of my head. It's been a while. The three triangle countries, essentially focusing on getting private investment into different countries in South America. To try to essentially boost their economies because they had been so crippled under COVID. And if the United States government, with Kamala Harris leading it, could essentially try to boost private investment in those places, it would actually cause less migration to the United States. That was the goal. We didn't want individuals there to be mass migrating because their economy was so bad. We wanted them to be able to, like, I don't know, we could help them rebuild their economy, and then a massive amount of people wouldn't feel the need to come to the United States. That's the only role she had. She had no other role. She had no role in security at the border or anything relating to the southern border besides boosting private investment and whatever that is. But there's no, she wasn't the border czar.
maybe that is the wrong term, but that was something that she was kind of put in the role of.
No, just didn't
I mean,
happen. It's just not true. That's something Donald Trump and Republicans loved to talk about before the election because, again, the reason they didn't pass the
But who was in charge of it? Who allowed all? Because I mean, here's the thing. Like I said, I mean, like when like the unfortunate reality with the whole ICE thing right now is, I mean, you can't deny the fact that much higher percentage of people came across the border.
Yes,
during that,
a higher percentage of people came across the border. I don't think that was because the border was open, and I certainly don't think you could name.
It had to be.
No, well, okay. Wait. If that's
busted.
the case, if it had to be, name me the executive order or the piece of legislation that caused the border to be wide open.
I don't know if there even needed to be an
Well,
executive order. I think
that-
they just
They just did it.
I mean, I like I said, I
Well, my point here is this. Is that I believe that the border, there was a significantly more people who crossed the border under the Biden-Harris administration. I just don't believe that Biden or Harris did anything to cause that. In fact, if we look at Border Patrol data, the first 8, I think it was the first, or I'm sorry, maybe it was like in between years 2 and 3 of Joe Biden, roughly 18 months under Joe Biden. And Border Patrol data, when the number of crossings at the border were surging, and we compare it to Trump's first term, we actually see that the deportation rate, the rate of removal under Joe Biden was actually like a tenth of a percentage higher than under Trump's first term. And we can see in Border Patrol data, if, obviously more people came across the border, but if 1 million people came across the border, then the Biden-Harris administration at that time, if they were, being arrested at the border, were, encountering them and then removing roughly 51% of them. So I would actually argue again that we have no evidence that the border was wide open or laws that are currently on the books were not being enforced. What we have evidence of is that not only was the border, there was such a surge of migration that there was not enough resources at the border, and our immigration system has been broken for a while. We also have an asylum program that I think in some ways needs to be reformed. And most people who came across the border during that time came through a legal process. You may believe that legal process needs to be reformed, but they came seeking asylum, and based on the laws, we were going to let them in. And if there's a massive surge of people seeking asylum, and based on the laws on the books, they're going to be let in. There is nothing to suggest that Biden-Harris opened the border. It just didn't happen.
There was 8.6 million people that came across the border.
Yeah, I think that's correlation without causation.
So if you say there wasn't enough this or that to protect that, shouldn't have the current administration done something to protect that?
Yeah, sure.
They didn't fail to do so.
Well, two things.
And the thing is, a lot of good people came through seeking asylum, and I have a lot of empathy for those people. What I don't have empathy for is and I will say, small percentage of people that slipped through and were allowed in that are a detriment to this country. And it's people that are coming here to seek asylum are now also put in harm's way of people that are here to do not good stuff. I mean,
yeah. Well, look, I'll say this. Number one, again, like in terms of the administration fighting, someone in the comments is talking about Title 42. I actually think that this is like a solid example and also a good example of just like general like right wing, what I would describe as right wing propaganda, not to like use terms that will inflate this conversation, but like Title 42 gave Donald Trump broad authority with COVID happening to essentially do whatever he wanted. We're just going to phrase it like this. He had a lot more power and control over what was happening at the border because there was a public health emergency. Under Joe Biden, there was actually, and to the dismay of some people on the left, Joe Biden was fighting federal judges, the Biden administration, a lot of times to keep pieces of Title 42 in place. One of those key pieces was restricting asylum. See, under Title 42, it gave essentially Donald Trump ordered that if you, and the Trump administration ordered that if you wanted to come to the United States and seek asylum, you first had to essentially, if you were going to make a trip, let's say through South America, up through Mexico, you had to stop at every single country along the way and prove that you attempted to seek asylum there first before coming to the United States. This massively slowed the asylum-seeking process. Under normal times, it's not constitutional because we have no right. The U.S. government has no right to tell people who are, under asylum, under the law that we're going to let people in seeking asylum. There's no legal justification for forcing them to do things outside of our borders. But under Title 42, it gave Donald Trump the ability to do this. Joe Biden fought that exact asylum thing and wanted to keep it in place. The DOJ fought in a court. I remember reading these court orders saying, if this doesn't stay in place, asylum seeking, and there's going to be a massive surge at the border because people have been waiting. And if this goes away, people can come directly to the United States. And because of COVID, there's going to be this massive wave of migration. And a federal judge ruled, that's not my problem. This is unconstitutional. You have 2 weeks to tear it up. And it got torn up. And so though I feel like a lot of times the right wing, like the right will run these things of like, for example, Joe Biden ended Title 42, or these things surge under Joe Biden. But again, to the dismay of some people on my side of the aisle, Joe Biden fought to keep some of those things in place, I think partly because they knew that there was a surge coming. But also, with that being said, all that being said, there is the only actual reasonable argument I will give, part of what you said, is that I think there is at least, I don't think that any of the arguments so far have been logical. No offense. There is a logical argument to say that Joe Biden could have handled this period. I'm still thinking about how I feel about this as I assess Biden's presidency. But that he could have done, he signed an executive order later in his administration that would cause a massive drop before the election, essentially, like 6 months before the election. That would cause a massive drop in the surge of migration. The hope at the time, I think, from the Biden-Harris administration was that they could pass this massive border bill. That was bipartisan. That was crafted by Republicans and Democrats. It had the votes on the floor until literally the moment it got to the floor, and it all of a sudden got nuked. It was very unexpected. But the hope was that we could actually pass massive legislation to fix a problem that's been something that's been a problem for 3 decades. It takes 8 years to get in the United States legally. This bill would force essentially, it'd be law to approve or deny visas within 6 months because we'd flood all this money to the judicial side of this. We'd get rid of this massive line of people waiting at the border. We'd heighten security at the border, but we'd change all the ports of entry. Like, it was a massive bill. And I think the hope was you pass that instead of doing an executive order. It didn't pass. Then they signed the executive order. Maybe there is an argument that the Biden-Harris administration, number one, should have communicated this differently to the American public, especially in 2022 when this was starting. I think there was points where they said everything's fine, and a lot of people were saying things are not fine. And number two, maybe they could have signed an executive order earlier, but they didn't. I think those are reasonable conversations to say, could they have handled whatever was going on the border differently? Sure. But I think everything else is suggesting that they we're just letting people in is just wrong. It's just, there's no basis. There's no basis in reality.
I can provide you basis on it. So, they used the 1952 Immigration National Act, and then they, in 2023, allowed up to $30,000. 30,000 people per month from different countries to come into the country, that were flown in, bussed in.
Yeah, like people seeking people. We've run those programs for decades. Like people seeking asylum. It's a lot of why we saw
not to that extent. There's never been a time in this country's existence where that mass amount of people came bussed in or brought into this country.
What year is the law from? What year is the law from?
I don't know exactly. It occurred in 2023. I
Yeah,
can tell
but you said it was using what law?
the 1952 Immigration and National Act.
Right. So. Yeah, okay. Anyway. Listen,
Which,
guy in his pit.
which allows migrants to enter the U.S. temporarily for humanitarian reasons, which is I'm for, but the fact of the matter is, unfortunately, amongst that group, even if it's only 5%, some not so good people came in. Like, I don't love the idea of just like mass deportations. I would like it to be more of an isolated, figure out who the ones that aren't the right people and get them out, but I mean, it's the way I see it is if you let not so people that aren't here for the right reasons come in, it defeats the purpose of seeking asylum, because then you're allowing the same people they're seeking asylum from to come in and be present in the same situation. Like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the answer is. I'm not like an expert on this stuff. I just, I mean, it's just, it's a very complicated scenario.
Listen,
it's unfortunate.
Listen, guy in his pit. I actually appreciate you having a decently respectful conversation up here. I'm about to fall asleep on TikTok Live, which would be unfortunate because it's almost 3 a.m. And I am under the weather, so I am exhausted. I do appreciate you coming up here. We're going to put a pin in this conversation. I'll get you back up here soon. Does that sound good?
Yeah, man.
All right, man. Get some rest. It's like fucking 4 a.m. for you.
I got work in 3 hours. So,
Jesus Christ. Yeah, go to bed, dog.
That's how we do, man. Us Republicans, we like to fucking work.
Like that. You know what? That was a good one. I'll accept that. I will accept that. That's a good one. All right. Oh my God, my camera. I'll talk soon, man. All right, guys. Hold on. My camera's gone. Holy shit. Fucking hell. This was fun tonight, man. I like the camera setup because people like it better. The viewership's better. I have fun with it. And I get to stream on YouTube, which people on YouTube have been showing so much love, dude. I've had like 120 viewers over at YouTube the entire time. Thanks for the love, everybody. Oh my God. Kens, I appreciate you. I fuck with the camera if it works. So I keep ripping the battery out of it, so that's not ideal. Kens, appreciate you being in here literally all night. I would look over, see some of those comments, making me laugh earlier. Funny. What was it? It was earlier. He said, Guy in Spit was talking. He said, cool story, bro. I said, pfft. There's somebody in the comments who was like, actually, am I misread? Somebody was talking about like this person makes me want to eat lead. I don't know, y'all make me laugh, man. Emma, thank you. Mateo, good to see you. Rebecca, I know. Well, that's the other part of the problem. When I start getting not burnt, but when I just start getting tired, there's people in my comments who are like understandably upset. And if I was here, if it was like first time getting on live, I would be raging with them. But I'm just like, I'm listening to things, and I'm not talking necessarily about Guy in his Pit, but just generally, I'm hearing things from people, and there's so much flying at me. I'm just like, you got to pick your battles, dude. There's just like a level where I just have to let certain things that I'm like, that's definitely wrong, but I'm just gonna let that fly. It's good for me to flex the bone, man. It's good for me to flex flex the bone. Jesus Christ, flex the muscle, the debating muscle. I keep touching my neck, and now it's all red. L. Taylor, thanks for modding. Pick your battles. Yeah, Taylor, I saw you banning people. I appreciate you. Go sweep, Jackie says. Go sweep. Yo, Jason, you're the best. Have a good night. Yo, Winoma, thank you so much. I think that says Winoma. I can't. Phil, bro. The sea turtles, bro. Oh my God, I'm fucking. Oh. I love all of you so much. Lauren, thanks for the follow. I appreciate you a lot, seriously. Guys, I'm sorry I don't. Yo, Brittany, you're the best. Thank you. I don't have Taylor, you rock. Mitch, I'm sorry, dude. I don't have one in me. I don't have one more in me, dude. I don't. He's got one more in me. Yo, Dark Sunray, you're the best. Thanks all over our YouTube. You guys show so much love. This is the first time I caught Chris up this late. Yo, James, thanks for being here. Get a mod. Yeah, I do need to get a mod for YouTube. I'll make it happen. I promise. Michael. Fawcett, I am going to go to bed. I got to call it. I'm sorry. I'm so fucking tired. I'm so tired. I'm sorry. I've been waiting for ages. Mitch, I'm sorry, dude. I've been live for Like 3 hours. I try my best. Next time. Jack and Piper's mom, you're the best. Listen, I want to say one more thing. What are my hours? I don't know, randomly. We're all tired, I imagine. Because it's 2:51 Central, which means wherever you are, it's late, and you stayed up and hung out with me. And Alicia, you're the best. You guys all make me, you guys make me so happy. I want to say one more thing, which is number one. I don't take any of you for granted ever. And every single time I get on live, even if it's just for fun, and I see so many familiar faces, people modding for me, people having a good time, I realize, I'm sorry, I'm trying to get my camera to focus. I realize I'm so fucking grateful for it, like unbelievably grateful. I feel like my camera is not in focus. Yeah, 3:51 a.m., that's insane, Michael. I'm so unbelievably grateful for like each and every one of you. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. And I just can't say it enough, dude. Like there's 700 people in here right now. There's, what am I? Yeah, 700 people in here right now. 200 new followers. There's something else I was trying to look at. I don't even remember the likes. I don't know how to see that on my computer, but 100,000 maybe. My thing's glitched. Bren, thank you. Katie, thank you. And Rebecca, you guys are all so kind. Ken's, you're the best. Carrie, look at all these amazing people. But yeah, number one, I love you, and I appreciate it so much. I do. I mean that. I'm so fucking lucky. I'm so lucky. I try to wake up every single day and sending you a sea turtle. I appreciate you. I try to wake up every single day and remember how fucking lucky I am to be able to do this. And number two, also on YouTube, Gary, thanks for being here. Jackie, you're the best. I support your mission. Thank you. Austin, Texas. Yo, W. Austin. I need to get to Austin sometime soon. I've never been to Austin. I've heard good things. 8 p.m. in Australia. Yo, Indy, thanks for being here from Australia. So who wants vodka, Michael says. Last thing I'll say is this before I go. I'm very big about mental health. A lot of people know that here, or about me if you've seen my lives before, or maybe a few of my TikToks. I know that like fucking the world blows right now. It's so ass. Okay, it's fucking terrible. But keep fighting one day at a time. I also know this is easy for me to say, being a straight white male, and I'm not fucking like under attack constantly. I'm actually never under attack. The point being is, regardless of, life is already exhausting enough for all of you. You go to work, you have, crazy friendships, relationships, all these things that are always chaos for everybody. And then politics is like this added thing. So just know that I'm proud of you, even though I don't know you. I'm really fucking proud of you, because doing this whole life thing a lot of times is not easy. And yeah, we should all be grateful for the things that we do have. Of course, gratefulness, statistically, is like the number one killer of anxiety and depression. So try to remember what to be grateful for, what you do have, but also like life is hard. Okay. And a lot of you are waking up every single day and you keep putting one foot in front of the other. You keep showing up to work. You keep showing up to your wife or your boyfriend or your husband or your partner or whoever the fuck. And sometimes you guys get in fights, and sometimes it's hard, or your friends are being annoying, or I don't know, work sucks, or your car broke down, or whatever the hell. And yet you still decide to show up every single day. And on top of showing up every single day, you decide to stay informed about politics, which in this day and age is fucking hard. So I just want to remind every single person in here that you should be so unbelievably proud of yourself, because it does not go unnoticed. So yeah, just keep putting one foot in front of the other, and remember to be both proud of yourself and kind to yourself. I notice these days, motherfuckers way too hard on themselves. You're so hard on yourself, dude. This life thing is hard. Give yourself some credit. You're doing good. There's people out there that love and care about you. Like I said, just keep putting one foot in front of the other. That's what I got for you tonight. And with that being said, this reminds me of like Obama out. You guys remember that? I was probably too young. With that being said, I'm going to bed, dude. I'm so tired. I need to go to bed. Keep fighting one day at a time. I got 2 more YouTube videos coming tomorrow, 2 more TikToks. Make sure you're subscribed everywhere. Christy Mary on all platforms. I love you. I'll see you tomorrow, all right? Thank you guys for all the love. Truly, it means the world. Good night.